So we're live.
Live. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nerdy Up North podcast. It's a nerdy podcast, and it's hosted by Northern Nerds. I am one of your hosts, Sam.
And I am a professional YouTuber now.
Oh, my gosh.
I had to get that out, yes. So, yes, I am the other host, Paul, and we are joined by a hostful podcast tonight with lots of different guests and personalities. I'll apologise for them all before we start as well. So we've got the manic and basically we don't know what'll come out of his gob, Graeme. We've got...
I'm a person.
He's a real boy. Yes, we've got Kelly, who hasn't slept in this episode, so she is doing well. And might even see little babies pop up from time to time. And we can hear her as well after having the technical issues before. The look on your poor husband's face, bless him. And we have the amazing Sonia tonight. Like I say, the last time Sonia was on was the Simpsons episode. Was that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Given the background she came on with.
Yeah, she's like, I need to change this quick. Well, yes, and we have the marvelous Michalea, who has returned after quite a hiatus, shall we say. I can't even remember the last time you were on, Michalea.
Serial killers.
Serial killers, right then. Yeah. Funny enough, though, that's one of the ones we have been restricted on YouTube because the content matter we talked about that day.
Oh, right, okay.
So, yes.
Duly noted.
But luckily, there's no death in Buffy whatsoever.
Yes.
Wait,
And happy to announce as well, we have got past the 10-second mark, so Kelly, please let it go. You can swear.
You fuckers!
We knew that. You could see the tension building up there, so yes.
Oh my god.
So just want to say a big thank you to everyone in the community and everyone, like say in the chat. I know you've been talking away, and as you've probably seen, there's a few new nifty gadgets and few nifty things we can do now that we have passed the rigorous and the tests that YouTube put for us. And to be honest, I am quite surprised, I don't know about you guys, how quickly we did it.
Yeah, it was really quick.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised because I feel like the community's like really like steadfast, aren't they? They're so loyal. And I think once that number was there, people were like, right, what do we need to do?
Play all.
Yeah.
It's nice though they actually like us and want to do things like that and not just think, oh, let's look at the memes. Let's do the memes. We're more than memes, I promise. But yeah.
We're more than memes.
We have.
It's now going to be a meme.
Yes. But I do have to say a big thank you to Graeme and Goodwill as well. I do think like the Star Trekking one has been a huge success. And like I say, it keeps on going strength from strength. So well done, you Star Trekking nerds. And
I checked on Friday and we've had at least 10 views, which I think has tipped the balance. Really.
Yes.
I think, it's...
And that was all Americans as well. So you're doing well with
Americans.
And damn it.
Do you like my mask? It raises the dead. Americans. One of my favourite lines from Buffy.
Oh, I've just noticed as well. Sam's getting excited now because people can actually pay money to have really weird things and said now. So Christoph's just paid £2 to say testicles.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
This is what
we said. Does he wanted like testicles or does he wanted like testicles?
I think the second one, given there's a gap in the middle. So
I will want the testicles.
But yes.
I love the fact that because I'm below Kelly, I'm technically like her testicles. I think that's how it works. Or maybe it was too
for me,
if
you're actually below Paul.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm looking at the actual video.
Yeah, so she's looking at the screen. He's not looking at the Zoom video. But yes.
It's like what is it? Blankety blank or something. Celebrity squares. Look at all these people. But anyway.
Bless. Well, yeah, so I'm trying to think. I'm tired now. But yeah, trying to get all these things sorted out and working out what things. But yes, so we are here to discuss a very special topic. Like I say, I think when we put this topic down for a suggestion what people want to come and talk about, there's been two topics I've seen people actually argue over and wanting to come on. This was one, and the Universal Monsters was another.
Wow, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. fact that we got actually physically wrong of someone
Yes.
and not inviting them on was something.
Yes, but that spawned, like I say, a whole different project for Sammy to start as well. So that will be kicking off next week, isn't it? Is it next week you're starting?
Next week, it's all kicking off.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, we're going to be doing what's it called? I can never remember it. Do you know, I only just remembered the name of the Game of Thrones one on the last episode that I did last week. So, great stuff. It's Nerdy Up North Talks Monsters. Hollywood monsters and real life monsters. And we're kicking it off with the most favoritist of favorite monsters, a creature from the Black Lagoon. So, yes. And
Flappy fins.
And I will have the fabulous Peaches and Dan joining us for the first episode. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I've got a list as long as we arm at the minute. I've only given Paul 6, but I have such a list. So this could be something that could go on for a bit. And it all kicks off next week.
Yes. So more work for me. Yay.
More talking for me.
Yes.
Yay.
So yes, I know Sammy normally does a bit and says, "How are you guys?" But we're all going to have a long one. But I just wanted to ask, like, say, how is everyone? Like, generally, I don't care what you've been watching, but are you okay?
All
My
good.
nose is just like mucus at the minute, so I do apologise. I've got my snot rag and I'm like, yeah, allergies and shit. So that's how my week's been. That's why I look like a fucking red-nosed fucking reindeer right now.
It's fine. We've seen you looking worse. That's fine. We've seen you look better, but we've seen you look worse. I still remember the 100th episode when we were sitting there and we were expecting you to like give birth live on on the stream.
Oh yeah, I've already done that.
Kelly
yes, he's here. He's very much here, Kelly.
Yes.
I can hear him crying. My boobs are twitching.
Nice.
So yes,
marvelous motherhood.
bless you. How are you, Michalea? Are you okay?
Yeah, all good.
Good.
Really dull work-life balance.
But to be fair, though, you have had some excitement since we last seen you as well. You did have a little party, didn't you?
Yeah, I got married.
Well, congratulations.
I was like, what did I do?
That ring on your finger, did that not give it away?
Yeah, I got married. I was going to write my name and then I was like, nah, I'm not ready yet.
She still hasn't changed her name on Facebook, I've noticed as well. She's not given that up yet.
It's not getting changed. So.
All right. She's still fighting it. And how are you?
I am changing my name, just not because Michalea Wetherill is known.
Oh, she has a name, don't you know, darling?
And unlike me, it's not just scrawled on the toilet cubicle.
Well, it could be. I have had enemies.
Depends which toilet you go into there. But yes, and how are you, Sonia? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Really crap answer. Yeah, like I'm the fake good where I say I'm good, but I don't really mean it. But that's as far as I'm willing to go.
Fair beans.
Have you been streaming anything?
Talk about Buffy.
Yes. Have you been streaming anything fun lately?
I played a few free-to-play horror games on Friday, and one of them was about a chat room which was haunted by ghosts.
All right.
Mint.
Actually hilarious, but really fun, like to play as well.
Check. And Graeme, we know what you've been up to. We can't get rid of you, Graeme. But
Some shit.
Graeme's just come off as well doing a 24-hour live stream of playing loads of games and doing random shit. And do you want to tell everyone how much you raised for your charity?
We raised for my dear friend Beth, who passed away 2 weeks ago. Is it 2 weeks? Bloody hell already.
Yeah.
We raised for the hospice that was looking after St. Benedict's Hospice in Sunderland. We raised over £1,000, which is amazing.
Wow.
So thank you everyone who is watching this from Nerdy Up North who donated, everyone that was joining the Twitch and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It was oddly, it feels a bit weird, like raising that money and then doing it and then realizing that it wasn't that difficult. Like staying awake was difficult, but essentially it was basically just messing around with my best mate for like a full day, and I was like, this is amazing. This is like really fun. But it's more that idea of the hospice are really happy with it, and I think that's the important thing,
Yes.
And yeah, it's feeling like, and I think that's really important, feeling like you can do something at a time when you feel totally powerless in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, well done.
Love it.
Certainly. So, Sammy, take it away.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions, and it's our opinions alone. If you would like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us in the Facebook group where we can have an open discussion. What we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong. We can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behavior out of nerdism.
Well done.
And in the same breath, you dick, Graeme. I saw you.
Did you feel that, Kelly? Did you feel that?
But yes, that was Sammy's first time seeing the disclaimer as a professional.
This is the person. This is the voice of the person who's been on the BBC and featured in the Chronicle.
Oh my god.
Yeah, when the person walked past as a Chronicle, I thought he was a paedophile. It was fine.
Can't say that.
Getting the word nonsense.
Yes, and Sammy was talking away. I was like, get him away from the kids. But yeah, so
I knew
yes,
exactly who he was. It's fine.
but yes, so we have asked everyone to come on tonight and share their thoughts and feelings about a certain teenager who just so happened to be a vampire slayer. Now, what a premise for a TV show, guys. And we did go on a journey. Like Sammy said before we got on, there was 8 seasons, is that right? 8 seasons of Buffy?
Yeah.
And how many seasons of Angel? Was it 4 or 5 of Angel?
No, it was about 7 of
Was it?
Angel, wasn't it?
No, it got cancelled.
I thought it was tons of
It was the
Angel.
same. It was the same time as Buffy because their finales like coincided.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Season 3 left Buffy, and then it did one of Angel, one of Buffy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
But it definitely got cancelled after 4 seasons.
I quite like the ending, but we'll come to that as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so we use. Did you get like? I know it's going to be like a hard question to ask. Like, did you get into Buffy when it first came out, or did you come to it late?
Yes.
We'll go to Sonia first, as she's getting very excited to answer yes.
Yes, I absolutely got into it as it aired on BBC Two, and I was going to school and talk about how good this new show was, and yeah, I was hooked from the beginning. Unfortunately, midway it switched to Sky, I think, and I then
It did.
couldn't watch it anymore because I wasn't rich enough to have Sky.
Yeah.
We were the scummy
I-
terrestrial TV people as well, like watching it on
No
BBC
money for
Two.
this shit.
I
so
was the
Graeme,
same. We
tell
never
me
had
about
Sky.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I used to
No,
get
but
someone to
definitely.
tape it. And then
Yeah.
my next door neighbour taped it and then gave it to me so I could watch it. And I was just like,
So
Yeah.
you were the first round, like kids have watched it then, Sonia. So you got like the first year. So what drawn it to you? Like, what was it that drew you to the show?
For me, it just looked different, and I can't remember if it was out at the same time, but I recall watching Charmed as well, right?
Right.
Which was the same thing. It was just something that was different. Like I grew up with my parents watching all the Star Trek, so like I already liked different things like Farscape. I didn't really like standard drama, and this looked like teenage drama, but it was different. It was this premise of there's demons and there's monsters, and I was just like, this looks so interesting. I think my dad as well was like, oh, this looks pretty good, Sonia, you should check it out. And I watched it and I was just hooked instantly.
Cool. What about you, Kelly?
well, there's a little bit of a story to this.
As with you, I wouldn't expect anything other.
Surprise me.
Well,
I love Kelly so much.
I was hooked from the film.
Yeah.
Came out in 1992 that Joss Whedon brought out, and I rented it from the sound and vision bit in the library with my mum, where you could get cassette tapes, VHS, and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, Mum, I want a video. And I was like, it was always All Dogs Go to Heaven. So I fucking loved that. And she was like, oh, what about this? I'm 8. 15. It's got like bloody Kirsty Swanson with her tits right up here and Luke Perry giving it that on the front. And she was like, you like vampires and stuff, don't you? And I was like, yeah. I swear to God, I watched this film to the point where the VHS was like creaking because it had been fucking watched that much. I absolutely loved it.
Mhm.
And then I remember my mum actually ordered the VHS from HMV because it was really difficult to get hold of, and it was gifted to me for Christmas. So it was one of my favorite films. And I remember talking to my sister, and she was saying, "Oh, they're making it into a series." I was just like, "Fuck the fuck off." So when it was coming on, I was just like, "Oh my god, I need to watch this shit," and watch the pilot, and it was just like all supernatural stuff, which I was really into. Yeah, I was into Charmed as well, so it was just another sort of like, and it was just like what appealed to me the most was the relatable characters and stuff. They were just people. They were just humans. You know, they were just like people that you would go to school with and stuff. And just like Sonia, it was a case of like I'd watch it on the night, and then the next morning go into form room with my two other mates, Emma Matthews and Laura Kelly, and would do like a post-mortem of the show the previous. So would go in at 8 o'clock to like chat about the episode of Buffy, and it was a time where like spoilers were like non-existent.
Yes, the perfect life.
And if you missed it, you were fucked. See, there was no about going. There was no like, I'll put on demand, download it.
Yeah.
There was no torrents or streaming back then. It was such a sheltered life.
There was the books that accompanied it, which I used to every week go to Hills with my pocket money, and I bought the Watcher's Guide, and we found out that Buffy killed Angel before it actually happened, and we were like, no, no way.
Heartbreaking.
So that was like my first experience of like the spoiler culture, and I'd done it to myself. I was like,
Kelly, you started. You're going to be cancelled now, Kelly. That's your fault.
But yeah, it just spawned this like obsession with me. So I was getting the books, the comics. I even had a Buffy the Vampire Slayer magnet in my locker.
Sorry, I know you mean like a magnet, like a picture that sticks on something, but for some reason I thought it was just a U-shaped magnet for Buffy, and I was like, why would you create that? No way.
And I bought this Buffy t-shirt. If it was in America, it could buy drink. It's 23 years old. I got it from Miss Selfridge.
Oh dear.
She wants it back.
And she could fuck off and die.
She probably already has. It's fine.
I used to wear this going to Goth Green with my fishnets and my rock pots because I couldn't afford Dr. Martens, and my dad gave me his rock pots. So anyway.
To be fair though, I've been waiting for Sammy to churn in and start singing it. How funky is your chicken? How loose is goose?
Goose is totally loose.
It's amazing though that it's amazing that the show went. I mean, that we got the show from that film.
The film is dire.
Yeah.
The film is fucking shit. But it's just like
amazing.
Well, like cult films. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was fucking great. But looking back and just thinking, it didn't hit the mark on certain things that movies of that ilk did. You know what I mean? It was just, quite unfortunate that it didn't like kind of.
Oh my god!
What I thought was good was the fact that Seth Green was in it, but was uncredited.
So was Ben Affleck? I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Ben Affleck's actually. You see Ben Affleck in the basketball game, and he kind of gives the ball to the guy. Like, but yeah, just there's some really good people in that film. You've got. Like Luke Perry, Rutger Hauer, David Arquette.
Oh, yeah,
it's amazing, man.
Really young David Arquette. I think, Sonia, have you just realised what's going on?
Yeah, I was so like, why would he interrupt this? And then I read and I was like, okay, there's money on the line.
The chat has been demanding that he does it.
To be fair, you got a cup of coffee out of it, so it's fine.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
What about you, Michalea? What was your introduction into the world of the Slayer?
I think mine was a little later because it came out in 97.
Yeah.
And I was 8.
Oh, the baby.
I think I saw a little bab. I think I saw it on the telly, and it was just like on, and I always like scared us because I was an absolute wimp. And then it was just kind of, and my first thing I remember really, Sam might actually fill it in because I can't really remember, but getting the DVDs and watching it like that. And then I would have eventually got up to date when the obsession came in about it to
Yeah.
watch like the last ones on telly.
Mhm.
But the same, like the t-shirts, the books, the comic, like the magazines which had a comic in it.
Yeah, we'll not talk about the comics because the comics, I'll be
Yeah.
honest, were diabolically bad. I'll be honest with you.
I just loved it. What I love now is absolute garbage. I just like trash, and it's the first like trashy romantic-y novel kind of thing. I like the romance of it and being like, oh, this person is, and that like being obsessed with like Spike. I think we'll go into that later on.
We definitely
And
will.
yeah, and just like that first like telenovela kind of style, but in like a style like when you're a kid and you're growing up and you're like, oh my god, these are my people kind of thing.
Mhm.
No.
You felt part of the Scooby Gang
Yeah.
when you were watching
Yeah.
it. You grew up with them. They were like your mates. Well, at least I thought they were my friends.
No, absolutely, and just loving it. And I rewatched it. I've rewatched it quite a few times since it originally aired, but I rewatched it last year, and it still holds up, and it's still amazing. And I watched the movie this year, first time I've ever watched it. And it was,
wow.
And I fell asleep, and I absolutely hated it. At the beginning, I was like, "Oh, I get it. I can feel it. It's like the Mean Girls. It's like the head. I can have that moment, as you said, though. It just doesn't hit the same mark as them kind of other films."
Yeah. I think the film is very much of its time, but I love that you mentioned the DVDs because I know it came out on VHS first, but I remember when
£35
when the
free.
Yeah, when that's the
videos
because the DVDs were extortionately expensive to get as well. Yeah, she got a coffee. Because I was thinking about like when we said we're doing the Buffy episode, I was thinking back like how I watched it when I was younger. I was again going dodgy up north. Went to the CM car boot sale, and there was a bloke selling all the different seasons of them. Like he had the covers printed out, so it looked professional as fuck. So I bought Buffy, Angel, and the Friends DVDs all on Schneid from CM car boot sale before the trading standards came in and raided them. So that was always like, see, I can just remember how expensive it was though for TV, especially to get like DVDs, like TV shows like Dexter was ridiculously expensive when that first came out as well. But yeah, what about you, Graeme?
It's expensive.
So you bypass Graeme there.
Yeah, no.
I am but a queen.
Maggie Thatcher told us to watch it.
My mum gave it for Christmas and was like, "Oh, watch this shit." No, it's really, I'm really. Oh, I thought Joe Border just donated like a penny, but there's a 3 in front of it. So sorry, people are donating money in the chat, and it's really weird and distracting.
I know it's really weird. Like,
I'm really glad for Michalea because the fact is, I was going to say that I got into it later because the fact is, we didn't have Sky either, but I didn't really watch it when it was on terrestrial. So it was on like BBC Two, but then what happened is I saw like 1 or 2 episodes of season 2. So I saw like, what was it? The first Spike and Drusilla one, and then I think I saw the Judge one.
Right.
And you're like, this makes no sense because I haven't done the context of the season. And it wasn't until I think like season 4 was airing, and a mate of mine had them all on DVD or something. Well, up till that point. But it wasn't a mate. It was basically like, I can't say fuck buddy because I must have been like 16 or something. But another thing,
someone you had consensual sex with. That's fine.
Let's not go wild here, but let's just say that like there was a lot of time spent and movies were watched during. Demonetized. Sorry, bro.
During.
I'm literally just going like, yeah, I would have been 16.
Well, there, you lasted a full episode. That was 60 minutes, dude. Well done.
It's pretty impressive to be fair, but I'm not. Anyway, and it was really weird because I kind of went back and watched it. So it was the sort of thing where I think it was like sort of season 4 had just started airing, and then basically we were watching because I've never seen anything of season 1, so it's a bit weird to me that feels like the odd season because there's only like 10 episodes of it, and you're like, oh, the Master, he's this massive important thing, and I just totally bypassed that. Totally. But no, like I got into that, and it's just scary how formulative it is. Like for, like it was so, like Kelly was saying, they felt like they were your friends, and it just felt like this emotional cornerstone, I think, for referring to it, like in that wonderful way that pop culture and nostalgia does that. Yeah, so it was wonderful, but that's how I got into it, and then obviously sort of watched it later. Eventually got all the DVDs, and sort of, it's one of those ones where you binge watch it like every sort of 2 or 3 years kind of thing.
Yeah. It's one of them things. I do watch it quite regularly. I can't get my wife to. She gets bored after a certain bit, and it's not. I don't think it's like for her type thing. The way I would describe it, because I always, as you said, it's quite formulaic. Like it is set pattern. It's almost like the way I would describe it now. It's like for the X-Files for teenagers.
Yeah.
It's like say it's got Monster of the Week, Big Bad, leading up to.
I actually compare it. I compare it to Harry Potter, because Harry Potter for the generation after ours is the whole thing of everyone goes, oh, I was here when this book was released, or I was here when this movie came out, and that it's their reference point for basically, oh, I grew up as this was happening. And
I've got that on my
Buffy.
Notes. It was like there was a posse of us who loved Buffy, and there was a posse of us who like read Harry Potter, and I was like, fuck wizards, this is a shit. I'm a very fucking vampire.
Consensual fuck the wizards. But yes.
I didn't get into Harry Potter until like I was pregnant with my first child. You know what I mean? I listened when I was breastfeeding. I was listening to the audio books read by Stephen Fry. What a guy! What a guy! What a guy! Anyway, but it was Buffy that was like ours, and like made me friends, and we just it became such a gift. I remember. For my friend's 13th birthday, I bought her The Essential Angel, which was basically a book of posters of Angel. And it was her 13th birthday at Johnny Ringo's. And I gave her it. And I swear to God, a tear ran down her face. She was that overcome and emotional. And it was just stuff like that where we would just like, it was always like based around. I remember we made a song about all the sexy guys on Buffy to the tune of Lou Bacon's Mambo Number 5.
Oh, bless you. You were the cool kids at school, weren't you?
Was he just saying Spike over and over?
No. It was like a little bit of child in the school, a little bit of Santa in the pool. You know what? Go fish.
Oh, dear me. Wow, that was some choices there, Kelly. So, Sam, how did you get into Buffy?
I suddenly feel like one of the cool kids.
I wasn't cool.
Bless you.
How I got into it, I didn't.
You didn't?
No,
I didn't.
Shit.
It's a hot take for you. I'm not a big fan. Why am I even here? No,
what am I even doing here today? But yeah,
it's one of me. It's one of my sister's favorites.
That's me. If no one actually knew that.
Yeah, if nobody knew that. She is my sister. So yeah,
are we supposed to be able to see her? Is this one of these like where you pretend the child's imaginary friend is in the chair?
She died when she was 2.
Michalea.
I just haven't told Sam.
We're locked her in the cellar. We don't let her out every so often. It's like that Simpsons episode all over again.
No, it was Michaela's thing. I have seen them. I just haven't seen them all. There is big chunks that I've missed out on. I got excited for Michalea because it was, I don't know if this is like your first thing, like your first franchise that you kind of like,
first nerdy
and it was all
thing,
yours.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't influenced by me. It was all you. You found this on your own, and I don't know if I was there for the ride. But yeah,
was the obsession that real? Was it?
Yeah, I'm not honestly. I enjoy them for what they are. I will never take away from the pop culture that it is, like the big phenomenon that it is. But it's just not my thing. It's my husband's. The thing is though, Kelly, I would enjoy it to watch it. It doesn't bother us to watch them. I will never go out of my way. I tried a few years ago to start from the beginning, and I was like, oh no, this is just the movie. On the other hand, it's one of my favorites. I absolutely adore that film. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's my husband's favorite. He loves Buffy. He loves Angel. He was a part of that.
So can we swap? Can we get Ant in now? So like, we'll swap Sam and Ant. So
should we count to 5 and then shun the unbeliever by just turning away from other things?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't know how to answer this because I do like it. It's just I'm not a big, huge fan of it.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
No, that's fine. Now, like say, each to their own. You're wrong, but each to their own. But but yeah.
All right, I've heard it off Michalea quite a few times.
No,
I've been trying to get her to watch The Sopranos for years.
Oh, if she hasn't watched,
honestly, no. Coxie won't shut up about making us watch The Sopranos. I can't get into it. I've tried.
I've tried as well, Sonia.
He put clips on last night. He made us watch a clip about an interior decorator. I don't know why it's funny. He was like, it's so funny. I don't get it.
Yeah, I've tried about 7 times. Like I think Michalea had them all on DVD. Yeah, DVD as well. And I've tried, and I can't get past the first few episodes. I'm like, what's happening? Like, why isn't things happening?
That's fine.
It's just like, why is there no vampires in this movie world?
Oh, that's a crossover we need. Tony Soprano versus Spike or something like that. Well,
Dracula.
The Dracula episode. No, we're not going there. Mine was and that's going to sound really strange because I was a closet nerd when I was younger. The people I used to hang about with and with like the activities I used to do, because I was always like really sporty. I was on all the football teams, basketball teams, rugby teams and stuff. So
you were a jock.
So when they used to when people used to find out like I was into comics and nerdy stuff, I used to get the piss ripped out of us. So like Buffy to me was a little bit of an escapism because it was like my little secret at the start So I was a fan of the movie. It came out around the same time as Freddy's Dead, I think, because it was around about that time.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, Freddy's Dead came out because, like I say, I went to my auntie's to get a copy of Freddy's Dead because my auntie used to copy all the films off Sky for us, and she went, "Oh, I've got this vampire one as well to watch." So I watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I was like, "This is amazing." Then when it came out on TV, used to play football on a Saturday afternoon, and then after the match, we used to all hang out and stuff. But I used to always make an excuse because Buffy started on a Saturday, when it was first put out, and I would make an excuse saying, "Oh, I've got to go home early" and stuff like that, so I could go home and watch Buffy. But I'm a little bit jealous of you guys going away and talking to your friends about Buffy because I had to keep it as a closet secret for many years before before I was allowed to be a nerd type thing. But yes.
Yeah, I'm glad that's manifested in a really not unhinged way for you.
No.
At your room.
At least your embrace of geek culture has been perfectly rational and not at all excessive.
Yes, Graeme saw my excessive purchase yesterday. I went in the Lego shop and I saw the DeLorean there. I was like, I can't leave without it.
This is my new child.
And then embrace and go, "Nicole, I've done something we can't eat for the next 2 weeks." But yes, so my foray into Buffy was a little bit of escapism to let my little nerdisms out as well. So I know, Sammy, we've had discussions about this in the past because we have difference of opinions on which seasons we prefer. So, we do go on a bit of a journey through, say the Vampire Slayer saga, shall we say? So, what seasons to you guys is your personal strong favorite, or which one would you say is your favorite type season?
I'll go first.
Go on then.
If you want to.
No, go on. Go.
I do. Look, I love 2, 3, but my absolute favorite is 4. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Which one's 4?
4's the one where they go to college.
That's my favorite. Because it's the one I've seen.
I just think funnier.
Yeah, it is so funny.
I like that. I like the tone of it. It's not as serious. I think series 5 has a really good story, but I just don't like it because I hate Dawn. And I guess we'll probably go through this.
Fucking hate
We've gone
Dawn.
through the characters.
Fucking dick. Ugh.
I love the college one. I like the next step of it, and then it will probably be 2. I think 2 is, but then 5th. Let's say 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
And then the other ones, like really later on after 6 and 7, it's watchable. It really is. It's still, you can still watch it and enjoy it, but you could tell it was just kind of like, what else are we gonna do? And it kind of
Would you say
fizzled for
they're
me.
going through the motions?
I do love that episode, don't get us wrong. But it just seemed like that I know like he didn't, the writers and that just didn't know what the hell to do with a lot of characters after a certain time.
I think with that, it's very telling that he went off and done Firefly, and he poured everything into Firefly, because when Firefly got cancelled, all the actors and actresses were in Buffy and Angel after that. So he didn't want to give up on Firefly. So you can tell there was the lull where his concentration was for parts of the series, shall we say, and try to bring it back.
A lot of directors and showrunners like do that, where they get actors that they trust. Like it's like Tim Burton being like, "I'll get the same 3 people for everything," or like
the same.
Yeah, or like who's my favorite? John Carpenter, where he just goes, "Yeah, we'll just get the same actors for every single film I do," and you're like, "That's fine."
It works. But yeah, I can understand what Michaela's saying there as well, with the lull. But yeah, so what about you, Kelly? You're looking very serious and stern.
Oh yeah, me fucking computer's gone. Fucking here, why are you here? So I thought I'd
Still there.
disappeared.
No, you're still here.
God. That's what I'm like, hello. Like, she fucking shut up. If I ever went on Mastermind, which is very fucking unlikely, it would be my forte is pretty much season 1 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking quiz me on those 3 seasons, and I'm like, bow, bow, bow. I had them all on VHS box set, which I painstakingly saved up for £35 for 3 videos. I remember that, and obviously season 2 and 3 were longer, so you had to. So it was like 60 quid.
It was like
70 quid.
per video.
It was fucking
like,
insane.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I had them like on my bookshelf, like season 1, 2, 3. And I think that's probably why, because I used to like just watch them all the time. Season 4, I hated Riley.
Oh yeah, I hated
fucking
Riley.
Sap. Fucking sap.
I think he's the human equivalent of a wet fart. I think.
Absolute sap. I loved Xander. Xander was always like my oh God, and he kind of sort of dwindled in that sort of season. You didn't really see much of him. He was like a fucking bricklayer or something, And,
Yeah, because we didn't know what to do with him.
No.
Yeah, it was just like, what do we do with him? And I'm like, oh my God, he's my pusher.
But I think that's probably where the show could have had a few more balls to it and just like killed off a few characters, because that would have given
rather
them
than just have him there,
having round in the background. Yeah.
We also had on series 4 major thing that they turned one of the characters gay. That's pretty.
I know, it was impressive. It was very before, like ahead of its time as well.
But then again, it's because it's a show about fantastical things, and as we know, gays don't exist. So,
only in the supernatural world, Graeme.
No, lesbians don't exist. I'm going back to the was it Queen Elizabeth who was just like, no, let's not outlaw that. That couldn't possibly be a thing.
But definitely series 1 to 3. For me, absolutely loved every single aspect of it. The whole like she died at the end of series 1, and then that activated another Slayer. Then you've got the rogue Slayer Faith. You've got Angelus going bad, after to lose her virginity to him, which kind of links into the whole, if you have sex with boys and they don't like you after you've had sex with them, blah, 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 blah. Like all those
they're
things.
going to turn into a vampire and try and
they're
kill
going
you.
to turn into a vampire and they send you an arm in a box or whatever, you know what I mean? It's just like, sorry, there's me nose running. But yeah, I love that. And do you know what? I actually shed a tear at like the end of season 3, because obviously that's when Angel goes and leaves, except for the few cheeky crossovers and stuff, and he does his own sort of show. And I did actually shed a tear at graduation because you've got like stable characters who died. Like, you know, you had Harmony, which really upset me. You had Larry, the horrible jock guy who Sander was trying to like kind of get some information out, and he accidentally like, you know, got him to say he was gay. You know, it was just like, but it was just. You if that was testament to the fact that you got attached to these people and, you know, you enjoyed their crack, and it was just the way everyone came together and kind of realized, like Prom, you know, yeah, there's something wrong with Sunnydale. We don't really understand what's wrong with Sunnydale, but we know that things got better when Buffy came, gave her her umbrella, and I thought that was just like lush. And it was it could have finished at the end of series 3 and I would have been happy.
I quite like as you said, with the characters that you got, like even the side characters or the people that had like small lines, they kind of kept them like going through, so they kept on recurring and kind of got bigger roles or comeback roles. Like say I always
Jonathan.
I was just thinking of Jonathan.
Who kind of came when he was like part of the triumvirate, you know, in like season, you know, because I did.
What were they called? The Trioska or something? I don't. Troika.
I just thought they were bellends.
The 3 bellends.
Was that the guy who killed?
Trinonces.
Was it Warren?
Warren, yes.
Warren,
Andrew, and Jonathan.
Tucker's brother.
Tara was my.
Sorry, I meant to say Tucker's brother. I'm sorry, I called him Andrew.
But just like it could have finished there for me, and I think when I was watching series 4, I enjoyed it ish.
I think it's hilarious.
And then season 5, Dawn. Oh my god! The end of that episode where they both turn and go, "Mom," and I was just like, I went into school the next day. What the fuck? She's got a fucking sister now.
I was fuming.
My fucking sister. Fucking shit. This is fucking ridiculous. It's just fucking shit. I hate her.
If anyone's playing the drinking game at home at how many times Kelly says fuck, I hope you have a nice hangover tomorrow.
Yeah, he's gone. Oh,
fuckers.
But you didn't like Dawn then.
Oh, fucking
Anyone like Dawn?
Witchy little fucking piece of shit. Anyway, and it was just, why? But I think by season 5 I was so fucking invested. I had to watch the rest, so it was more like a duty as opposed to an enjoyment. I just kind of, and then when they had the house filled with Slayers, I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like Kennedy fucked me off as well. Didn't like she was
Willow off as well.
Exactly. I don't know. I think like there's certain episodes where I'm just like, oh, that was class. So for example,
we'll come to the we'll come to the episodes in a bit later as well.
Sorry.
Actually, trying to keep a little bit of control. It's gone already, but yeah, I know.
It's gone. Well, I just want to end that with Dawn is a fucking knob.
Right.
Knob.
So, Sonia, what seasons did you enjoy?
If you see a season 5.
I really, really struggle with this because I've got different answers for different reasons, and it's hard. I think probably hand on heart would probably go for 3 because I loved Faith so much, and like whilst I'm not gay in any way, I definitely had some questions when watching season 3. I loved her arc. To this day, I think she's probably still one of my favorite characters from the show.
Outfits are 90s fucking
she was
leathers.
Amazing. I remember watching Bring It On and just being like, oh my god, it's Faith.
To be fair, that is the only reason I watched that movie as well, and Kirsten Dunst, but yeah.
But yeah, so I love season 3, and I think for the same reasons Kelly was saying, I think for me, because I grew up with them being in Sunnydale School, when they left the school, it felt like everything changed. And I know that that's how life's supposed to feel. You leave school and your life changes, but it was the school was the school was the place. It was them meeting in the library. It was the characters of the school. I loved all that shit.
Yeah.
So, but I would also say that I absolutely love season 6 because it has my favorite big bad and it has some of my favorite episodes in it.
All right. So who was the big bad in 6 again?
Willow.
Willow. Oh yes. Oh,
Oh,
shit. Yes.
Yellow crayon.
Yeah, like some of my favorite episodes. And the kind of the symbology between her being addicted to magic and it being a metaphor for
Yes.
addiction is just so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's some really like hard hitting episodes in that season, and I don't think I could erase that season from my mind as a one of my favorites. So
No, definitely. I remember that's like say a standout, and like that's when the crossovers start to happen between Buffy and Angel as well. So they used to have bigger events and have weird events as well. But we'll come to that. What about you, Graeme?
Oh, hold on. I finished my coffee. Okay, so it's on to the mead.
All right.
Right. So let's get this shit started. Right. Okay. Me and Kelly are going to have a fight, to be fair. And because she's above me, she has the high ground. I'd say my favourite are probably seasons 4 till 6.
All right.
Obviously it's because that's when I kind of, I'll have you. I can take you. You're not that big. Well, depends what we're checking, really. In the public, Christ. Anyway, glug. Yeah. But, no, I think it's the idea of it might be that's when I kind of came in, because obviously I started watching season 3 till season 4 kind of thing. But I really enjoyed the fact that it was real life from that point, because you realize that the scale of everything gets so much bigger from then on.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite season is probably season 6 as well, just simply because everything is so real. Like, in school, it's like, oh, people are dying and stuff, but she doesn't really have any problems. Like, it's literally her, her mum finding out about her being a slayer, or boys, all these things. And you realize how micro those problems are.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to season 6, you're like, oh, how does money work? How do jobs work? How does, crazy shit, like the fact that beginning of season 6 they're having to lie to keep Buffy, they're having to use the Buffy bot because Buffy dies, spoilers,
Again?
to basically keep custody of Dawn, keep the actual house, and they're having to lie and doing all of these things, and it's really heartwarming in the same way of just realizing, I don't know, I think the relationships came to it. So I think the characters they all evolve. And like we say with Xander, in season 4, Xander doesn't really have anything to do because he's not in college. But then that kind of is his character for the season, of him being like, oh, I don't feel like I'm part of the group anymore. I don't feel like I'm involved anymore. And we all kind of get that. Like, we all, being outside of that. But yeah, I think it's difficult though, because obviously season 3 has the mayor in it, and the mayor is one of my favorite characters in anything.
Fucking great.
The mayor is exactly what I would be like if I was a villain. Like, it doesn't matter how evil I would be, I'd still be like, oh, hello. And it's that wonderful. No, I genuinely would be. If I went evil tomorrow, I would be the most bizarre evil in the entire world. But no, and obviously 5 has Glory, who was another amazing villain. It's not the best season. It's not.
Yeah,
the best season,
I never got the Glory aspect. Yeah, that was always
Well, I'm hoping later we can talk about the big bads in more detail.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm not going to go into it now, but I think probably season 6, but I have a soft spot for it. But it's season 2. I rewatched that as part of the research for this, and I was like, this is really, really good, but it doesn't sing to me as much as the others. But but I didn't see the movie for fucking years. So.
No, and I know me and Sam privately have had this conversation as well. Not to speak for Sam, but I know you prefer the college years from you telling us before.
No, I do. I do. I find them hilarious. I think that was when that's when I picked. I've seen a few of I've seen them all now, but at the time when they came, I watched the first 3. My cat's going nuts. Sorry, the first 3. To start, I watched bits and pieces of them. I think I watched the entirety of season 4 with Michalea, and it was absolutely hilarious. The demon with the toenails, I couldn't stop laughing. I still to this day, if I see Anthony's put a toenail on the table, I'm like, "Oh, you want to watch it grow? Why is it there?" So I do find that one. I think Spike got funnier as well.
Yeah.
I found him a bit more light-hearted.
I liked him with the chip in his head. I loved him with the chip in his head.
Yeah.
Also, season 4 has Pedro Pascal in it.
Yes,
It is.
yeah.
How weird is that? Like
Little
it's
baby
so
Pedro.
Baby Pedro.
Little baby Pedro. Yeah, so the college years are not my favorite, but I like them.
And it had one of the most iconic episodes in it with Hush.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 I think is the only one that got awards or some sort.
Yeah, Hush won awards.
I could have
always.
made that all up, but
No,
yeah.
you don't. You're right. I
Sport
point it
must
out
have,
every time.
Wait, the fact that Hush has an entire like soundtrack to it, like it's the sort of thing where you can actually buy the soundtrack to one episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's nuts.
Yeah, it won awards, and they are terrifying. Like, is in horror. Like horror
Jones,
concept
isn't it?
art,
He's
they
one of
are
them.
like absolutely terrifying. Sorry, Kayla.
Isn't it Doug Jones? Isn't he one of them?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sound like they call it Doug Bradley.
I can never get his name
Right.
right on spot. I
Yeah.
keep calling him Doug Bradley, and it's like very different person.
Same cosmetics though, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Because I prefer the early ones, like season 1, 2, and to a degree 3, just because they were more ladled in horror. There was more actual suspense. Like it was a monster of the week, but I did think they were going more for the horror aspect there. And like say after that aspect, they still had horror in, but it was more comedy. As you said, there was more
it's
jokes.
family drama. It's the sort of thing where it starts off being like a college drama, but mostly monster of the week, and then later on it becomes like, hey, it's how life is and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
an ensemble thing, and you're like going, but the monsters, you know,
Yeah.
they're
Because adult life is the real monster.
Yes.
yeah, there we go. There we go.
No, and as we said when we go through the episodes, some of the more scarier episodes is realistic or life things that do happen. But I think my biggest problem, and it took us a while to get over it, is they made Spike out when he first come in to be this horrendous, like monster vampire. We've lost Kelly.
Graeme, you've moved.
Oh no, where am I now?
You're on
Who
the
am I
right
looking
to
at?
us. You're looking at me. Look at me. This way. This way.
This way.
There you
It's
are.
fine. I'll just fix it there for a bit till Kelly joins us again. It looks like she's
Give you
crashed.
my gentleman smile.
But yes, just
Nice.
quick fixing it on the go there. Oh, she's joining us back again. But is she coming back in? Is she coming back?
Where will she appear?
Where will she go now? Yeah, because like I say, I love the like. Oh,
She is.
oh, no, she's gone again.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Dude, I'm unstable.
I can
We
see.
all know.
Blame Dawn.
Fucking Dawn. Fucking bitch.
Right.
Fucking. Say my internet connection is unstable. I don't know what the fuck that means.
It's your husband's downloading too much porn. It's fine.
Do you know what? You know what? He works for fucking EE. We should have the best internet ever. It's like, what the hell? Sorry about that, guys.
No, it's
That was
fine.
You're good.
So, but like I say, with Spike, I loved him when he was nasty, when he was horrible, and actually quite scary. And then they made him like, as you said, they defanged him by putting the chip in him, and he became.
Sexy.
Yeah, they did.
Well, I didn't. Probably is not to my demographic, but I just was a little bit disappointed because he went from being truly scary to a clown to the love interest, and I was like, to me, I couldn't get past them aspects and stuff.
I didn't like him as a love interest.
No.
Nah, I
No,
liked
I
him
don't
as
think
funny Spike. I liked him as initiative Spike, where he still had that like kind of element of will he be a dick? Will he, you know, kind of
Yeah.
fuck them over again? I hated like the backstory they gave him as well because he was a bit of a fucking wet flannel when he was a human, wasn't he?
Yeah,
He was like a bit of a gimp.
I thought he was
he was a mother. He was a mother's boy, wasn't he? Yes, he was a very.
Aye, bit of a gimp.
Could they not just let Buffy be single for once? Did she always have to have a love interest
Yes,
within the
that's what I
show?
Yeah.
Could they not just let her go solo and try and find herself? I mean, it's bad enough she's a fucking slayer that she has to have boys in the mix as well.
She doesn't
They
have
really
to have
throw
a
a lot of
man
that
to
person.
define
Does
her.
in the end,
Yeah.
but that's an outcome that's detailed at the end of Angel. But you find out that she's happy on her own and she wants to be on her own, which I thought was a really nice
Yeah.
payoff.
And
You do
I
find
think
that out.
Do you reckon it's because Buffy was trying to have a normal life, and so she was trying to? You know how a lot of guys, well, a lot of guys have it where they kind of go, "Oh, I've got to fill in the steps. I've got to get a girlfriend. I've got to have kids. I've got to get married." And do you wonder if maybe Buffy was like, look, I need to have this life in order to have that normality, despite never being a Slayer.
Yeah, and her first love being a like 200+ year old boyfriend,
Yeah.
and she's 15.
Getting the word.
And then the last one, Love Spike. This is why I didn't like their relationship. I get it was toxic and that. I'd rather it have been a bit more would the want the kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they didn't.
Just like that tension.
Yeah, and then he tries to rape her. Like,
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
it's
that
like,
was awful. That was fucking awful. Ugh.
And it's like,
But this is why I like those seasons, though, because it has very real things in it, and you kind of and it deals with it with a kind of with a gravitas, you know.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable. Oh,
So
it's the only time I agree with Xander when he's like, well, he did try to like, assault you. And then we can get, if we could talk about characters, I can have a nice.
No, that was good leading into it. Like, say, talking about the characters, because I think, like, with this show as well, and again, I might be right or wrong, it might just be my impression. Like, most of the casts went on a journey through the show, and you saw the progress and you saw the evolution, and that kind of stopped with Buffy, if that makes sense. Like, she got to a point, and you never really saw, like, she become quite dull. Like, as a character in my eyes, like, especially in the later seasons, I know it was supposed to be like when she come back from the dead, she was trying to get the fire back and like bring that element to her, but it was kind of like you didn't really see any progress. It was either that she'd given up to the life of being a Slayer, or didn't see that progress.
I totally don't agree. I think Buffy has constant development, and it's really good throughout.
Yeah, her life is shitty. It's shit. She didn't want this. She didn't want to be a Slayer. And
you
then
didn't want to come back from heaven.
Yeah,
exactly.
She finally gets a good ending, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, can't do with some
We'll bring
vampires."
you back to this fucking shithole. It's just like, come
Willow,
on,
you
man.
slut.
Maybe like a character just doesn't develop because she should have been dead to have nothing left.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, fucking hell, man. Give 10 minutes peace.
They couldn't even let her have that, could they?
I know, and do you know what? That's when I kind of started thinking,
you're pretty selfish. Yeah. You're all pretty special bunch of friends. Like,
But that's exactly it, which works perfectly into Willow, where you just kind of go, wow, Willow, like her development of realizing, of being so selfish, like that whole thing of going, hey, I have the power to do this. And
why should you?
Yeah.
Just because you have it doesn't mean that you should.
That's why I love Giles so much, and I think what they did really
Giles.
smart was like have Giles removed from that season, because it showed that without him, these aren't adults at all.
Yeah.
These are not adults, and there's like one scene where he like boots off at Willow and he calls her a rank amateur, and he's so angry, and it's such a powerful scene because she's like, she thinks he's jealous, and he's like, I'm not jealous. You're making selfish, stupid fucking decisions.
He's
There's
already
nothing
done
else.
that shit. He's already kind of done his dabbling.
Been there, done it.
Fucked it with Ethan Rain and stuff. God rest his soul. But like he's done all that, and she's like, oh, you he's like, you're a fucking idiot. You know what have you not learned from like kind of me as an example? You know, of you don't mess with this shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. All of the characters have their moment to shine. All of the characters kind of go, hey, this is why you were here. This is why you're important. Like Xander has it, where obviously, like in season 6, he's the heart of the group, but he also keeps everyone sane. Whereas Giles is the reason anything gets done, effectively, because they'll probably be dead without Giles, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he
Absolutely.
leaves. He wants Buffy to learn how to live
Mm-hmm.
on her own 2 feet, and he realizes shortly thereafter that was a big fucking mistake.
Yeah.
Because like, everyone's so dumb.
Was
Like-
he?
He goes away and then he comes back, and Buffy's like, everything's falling apart. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay.
Maybe I shouldn't have left.
Was he part of the group who brought her back, or was
No.
he?
No.
He had nothing
He
to
wasn't
do with
there.
it.
about
No.
it. He's furious about it.
Yeah, it was just Xander, Willow, and Dawn. Was it Dawn involved? Or?
Anya and
Anya
and
Anya.
Dawn didn't know, so it was just Xander, Willow, Anya,
Dawn
and
and
Tara.
Spike didn't know.
Because I remember.
It's so selfish. They couldn't have just left her be.
But
That's-
they
And
didn't.
they really do.
Admittedly, though, they didn't know that she was in heaven. They thought she was in heaven, but the way it's posed is very much like Willow convincing herself because she wants Buffy back, and it's so selfish. But
Yeah, they're really right it that way. It's not like you go ahead and like think that they are like these are horrible people who are going to do this to our Buffy.
Yeah,
because
you're
you
meant
all
to-
want to
you're
see
meant
her
to
back,
believe
but
she's in like a demon dimension, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's not until she even says it herself that she was in heaven that I think you as the viewer is like, holy shit, why did I think she was in a
And it's
bad
the-
place?
it's the way that they actually deliver it as well in that musical. It's it's how slowed down that line is, and how it's actually spoken, like the syllables, I was in heaven. That is quite powerful how they do that.
To be fair though, I just thought they were really bad singers, to be honest. So
no, I think that was totally done. I think that was
A
totally
little
done by
column A and
design.
B.
yeah, let's be honest, Sarah Michelle Gellar, like there was a lot of autotune used there. So,
I don't think there was enough.
so which character do you think had the most development throughout the show? Willow.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say either Willow, Buffy. No, that's probably it.
I think for me, Anya.
Maybe
I was
Spike.
just about to say
Fucking
Anya.
love
I was just
Anya.
about to say Anya.
The problem is Anya develops fairly quickly. Like it's a sort of thing where Anya kind of starts off Vengeance Demon, then she's not quite sure, and then she stays as this wonderful character.
It's when when the Buffy's mom dies and she can't understand grief.
Yeah,
That's awful.
And her trying to be human. Like it's such I love our songs in the musical. Fucking bunnies, man, come on. And it's like the best character. I think she has such a, I don't know, it's just personally for me, for someone who's not like, I'm like hella big on it, Anya was just great.
A standout for you.
Yeah, massively. And that scene alone, and when I think when Tara dies as well, she can't grasp the human side of life.
Yeah,
I just love her. I love her so much. Sorry.
I'd also I'd say the development on Tara is a bit disappointing because I love the development, but it's all off screen. Like all of the other characters develop over the course of seasons. Whereas Tara's like, oh, you're a shy wallflower in season 4. Then in season 5, oh, you're confident because you're with Willow. And then season 6, she's like a badass bitch. And then you're like, like who's like sort of, no, we're not going to do this. And you're like, that happens between series. And it's not that brilliant, but I like them. But, whereas Willow is very much constantly throughout, like Anya is constantly throughout.
You're looking at Willow from like series 1 with her long drab hair, and you've seen
she
the
was
softer side of
adorable.
Sears. She was
this one time in band camp.
But no, she was absolutely lush. And I've just been recapping series 3, and especially like with Doppelgangland, where you see her as a vampire and she's super duper evil, and then she kind of realizes like she has that. When Angel's like, when she says, "Oh, it's a good job our character is nothing like," and he was like, "Well, actually,"
When they're like, "Oh,
she's just like, I think I'm kind of gay."
I'm kind of gay.
It's like, well, actually.
Yeah, and just even in those, you just see her develop. I mean, I love her outfits in season 3, her dungarees and stuff. She's just like, you can see her, kind of from going. You can see her developing her fashion as well. Do you know what I mean? And it's just so lovely. And
do you know who was meant to play
I think
Willow?
she develops her fashion, and then it gets to season 4, and then okay, that's not really that's
medieval look.
Sorry, it's an evolutionary dead end, but I'm saying
I think I know Sam.
Natasha Lyonne.
Yeah, but I think I heard
Natasha Lyonne was meant to play Willow. Yeah,
all right.
They were sitting, she was offered it like straight away. Like, would you like this part? And she went, absolutely not. And she told this while sitting next to Alison Hannigan.
All right.
And she was like, "Yeah, I was meant to be your part."
Well, who was the actress who did Willow in the pilot? Because I know they had a larger girl to play Willow in the pilot episode, and then they just.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Another
there's a video on
YouTube.
There's a full episode out there that you can watch somewhere, but it's basically and Willow is a lot like bigger and. Is this
like the Big Bang episode, like the pilot episode that did that? Yes. You can see where Sheldon's a sex pest, which is really weird to see.
And it was like that, and I think there was another character where they went, no, that's not suitable, and then they replaced them, and then
I kind of wish we had more of totally off topic, sort of, but I kind of wish we'd seen more of Jesse. You know, the fourth friend in season 1, episode 1.
Graeme sent me a text. Graeme, what did you say in this text?
I don't know. I talk a lot of bollocks. No, I'm really annoyed because my big thing as a homosexual is that I don't actually like any of the guys, any of the meant to be pinups in Buffy. All of the ones I liked were the dickheads. So all again, and it's funny thing about Jesse was hot. Fucking the guy she goes out with, Parker, was hot at the beginning of season 4.
Parker.
What's his name? Scott that she goes out with in season 4 or 5 kind of thing.
Yeah. Scott Hope.
Yeah, and then Angel, Spike, Riley, fuck all of them. I'm really annoyed by this because Jesse's super hot and then he's dead by episode 2. And you're like,
It would have been so good to have actually had him in. Like, it didn't feel like a loss to their friendship group because I was like, I don't know him. Like, let him be in the season a bit more first, you know?
It would have had more impact because I know when they killed Tara off, there was a whole thing of Whedon basically going, we need to kill off a main character. And then it was just like, but you're not going to. You're not going to kill Xander. You're not going to do any of this. And if they'd left Jesse in it longer, they could have picked him off halfway through. But yeah.
The only complaint I had about Tara, I loved the story about her family, like how Conklin was. But we only got like a short aspect.
So good at that episode. Like just the idea of like all these themes that Buffy does, where it's the idea of just like, we have cults. Well, you have the vampire cult in season 2, I think it is, and then you've got the and then in beginning of season 4, is it? No, is it season 3? No, it's season 3. Where she goes off to another city and then bumps into one of the girls from the cult, and then she ends up getting into another cult, and you're like, fucking hell.
It's easy to join these cults.
But that's exactly it, though. It's showing like the mindset of people, and we get all of these wonderful things across Buffy, and I think that's brilliant. But it's like you were saying, it's themes like you were mentioning.
Sorry.
That's what go for it.
What you were saying about not fancying the main ones, I thought you were going to say how horribly written the men are.
They are kind of terribly written. Like Spike is really good that he has development where as he gets further on, he's kind of more believable as a person, but he is just soppy by the end, and you're a bit like,
yeah, he's like a puppy,
that's the thing. And Angel doesn't really make any sense because he's just like, oh, I'm broody,
and I can't stand Xander. I think Xander.
I need to jump in this because Xander, I fucking love.
I can't.
I love Xander, but I'd probably fuck Anya first because that's how I feel about Xander sexually.
Episodes when I watch it back, when I get so angry at his behaviour, like the episode when Buffy comes back from leaving when she calls herself Anne, she kills Angel, she comes back, and they have this big party for her that she doesn't want. Yeah. And she's had to kill the love of her life. And Xander's nothing but awful to her, like, and that's all he ever is. Like, he's just awful to her.
Because Xander only wants to be with Buffy because he wants to fuck her, and that's it. No
and the episode where he's a hyena, let's not forget that he actually tries to rape her himself, and then kicks off.
I love that episode.
Okay.
Kelly likes the rapey episodes now, so.
Rape anyone, but it was, you know what? Like, I just loved. He's geeky, funny. I could always have gangrene in my face. So I just
give me the ick.
Yeah,
I think the hyena episode, him trying to play a badass, it doesn't work.
I think though it's the idea. No, but it's pointing out, like when they throw the party, it's showing that they do not understand what Buffy's going through, and that she's not communicating what she's going through. So it kind of makes sense that they're like, oh, everything's back to normal, Buffy's back, and it's like the whole episode is like going, no, there's a lot to unpick here,
Xander, like I'm watching it now, and I'm actually kind of like questioning my whole kind of teen sort of crush that I had on him, because I absolutely, seriously, posters all over my room. I was obsessed. I met him on my birthday a couple of years back, which I wish I never did, because it really...
He has some issues, doesn't he?
Yeah. But I'm looking at like the stuff. I mean, even in like series 2, the way he plays Willow's affections is
Yeah.
shit. Shouldn't
Yeah.
He knows. He knows.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
he uses that, and then was it when Willow tells him at the end of season 2, tell Buffy that I'm trying to like give Angel his sword back, and he's like, just go get him, go kill him.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Is
you're
that-
a fucking arsehole, and just like things like that. And I honestly don't think he deserves like Anya as a.
No.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
And what he
He
does to
doesn't.
her.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
No.
I mean, I
yeah.
remember as a
Absolutely.
kid just like really being so upset that Faith got to do the dirty with him. And I was like, oh man, I'm so jealous. And that the Zeppo guy, like that episode, just shows you just how ineffectual and how much of a sap and a git that he was. You know what I mean? And it was all about, "Oh, I want to help out. I want to help out." It's just like, you shit. You know?
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's also the idea though with like Xander especially. I forgot what the episode's called. I think it's the one where the demon becomes a copy of Xander. I think it's like season 4
And his
or 5.
brother, his twin brother.
Yeah, and his
yes.
brother plays it. But it's the
Yes.
idea of showing how shit and bad Xander is, because this demon comes in and does his life better and kind of goes, hey. No, but the whole point of it is
Unlucky.
basically
No,
going,
but it's really
Xander,
good.
if you were just better and you weren't such a wet fucking squib, like you would be able to have all these things. And it's kind of crazy how it works, that like how we all are, if we actually embraced things and we like threw away our worries and stuff like that, we could achieve way more in life. And it's humbling for Xander, I think.
That's the same.
But the swim episode also, I appreciate Xander in that.
You think that's a demon that takes over him, but you find out at the end of the episode that it's him split in two, the
Yeah.
good part of him and the bad part of it. So the whole point of that episode is that actually that's both him. He just doesn't believe that he could be that good, which is why I think Xander is such a good character, not because he's a good person, but because he's a really good example of like toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be all of these things because I think that's who I'm meant to be, when actually he's best at being kind and gentle.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
doesn't want to be those things. He wants to
No.
be powerful, and
He wants
Yeah.
to be the
that's his
badass.
downside. Yeah.
He wants to be
Yeah.
like the hero. He always feels like he's, as you said, the sidekick or the one that just gets carried through things. Or that I think it's one of them like traits where a lot of like probably speaking as a bloke that you have to get over as well when you're younger, because
Yeah.
it's like because you're told from a very young age that, well, probably not these days, but like when I was a kid, it was like you have to be the best, you have to be the strongest, you have to look after everyone. Like these are the things that, like, especially like probably in the area I grew up, and like for a lot of it, as you said, he's a teenager and he's thinking about his dick more in his brain, which it, like I say, is a common trait. Like we all knew the lads, and probably as I did it myself, we all followed round the girl or followed the one that would give you a tiny bit of attention, and then you would worship the ground they would walk on for a little while.
Bad content, can't relate.
Yeah,
But
this didn't happen to me.
I never did that, Paul. What are you talking about?
But
I
yeah,
went to an all-girls school, I went all boys, so they got followed me.
the problems were that it was too far behind you
It
there,
was.
Kelly. But it's I liked early Xander because I thought it was more relatable. But then he made
It
choices.
was funny.
He made choices
It was
that
funny.
I kind of like, even far-fetched choices. You thought that doesn't make sense on any level, and it's kind of that's probably where the writing went a bit skew with Xander. I don't know.
I always remember I had like a Buffy magazine, and Joss Whedon said he modelled Xander on himself, and I can kind of
Explains a lot.
see, yeah, I can kind of see, that certain things and certain like actions that he does at the minute, like it's like watching Buffy with entirely new eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like kind of at the time, being having. He was like my first like crush, you know what I mean, as a kid, and then kind of like looking back and thinking, Jesus wept, the way
Isn't
like
that what
girls were
first
meant to
crushes
like,
are?
Yeah.
yeah.
To be fair though, there's probably many females that had the night with me and probably said, "What the fuck was I thinking?" But we'll not go there.
I think with the writing of all the characters, I know we're not going to go into the Josh Whedon controversy at all, but I think he writes the women like he wants to be perceived as this like feminist, like like, you know, alliance, is that the right word? Ally.
Yeah.
Ally.
Aye.
And then
I think World of Warcraft is the alliance.
but then you actually see him in how he writes the men. And
Yeah.
that's kind of like that, like toxicity of it all, because I think that they're all quite problematic in how he writes the guys. Like even like Oz, like the most sweetest, loving, and then he fucks over Willow too. It's just like
I found that very out of character. Like I couldn't.
I don't feel that. I feel like because I can't really speak for the women because I'm not a woman. I've checked. But it's the idea regularly. But it's the idea of like with the men, I found them all stereotypes. All of Buffy's boyfriends are like horrendous stereotypes. So Riley is like, oh, he's an army bloke, and the girls are kind of harder to put into that because Willow, starts off as a geek, but then what would you class her as in like season 4 onwards? Just lesbian? I don't know.
But the thing is, I think
lesbian. I'm like, is that a pre-select option?
Yeah, but I think that's a good point to make though. Like when it comes to the writing of the men, because when it comes to to Buffy, every single male character had the same issue. It's like, oh, we don't measure up. We are inadequate to Buffy, so they always kind of like fade away or turned on her in a way. That was kind of like the story throughout. So again, if we're going to talk about controversy and like writing, maybe he always saw a strong woman being like say intimidating, so that's why like say that kind of come across that way. And as Michalea said, the female women are empowered and wrote to in a degree like the most. Like when we got like talk about the big, well, actually might as well talk about the big bads now. Like all the big bads like that were standouts and huge. Like if you think about Willow is one of the biggest big bads that was wrote, and like Glory as well. I know it was like the dual personality, which just blew. I could never get my head around, but that aspect for me.
Glory is Ben?
Oh.
Are you saying there's a connection between Ben and Glory?
Oh, okay, so they're in the same place.
Oh, I don't get what you're talking about.
It was just awful.
Do they know each other?
Is everybody very stoned?
Are they cousins? Are they cousins?
I don't know what you mean, Paul. Sorry.
Yes. But no, but that's like I said, bearing the point. But like the way that Willow was wrote in that season, that was just amazingly done. And like I say, as a big bad, I know I've got a few favourites big bads throughout the show. Like I've got Nathan Fillion hard on for any time of the week. So when he come in as Caleb, I absolutely just adored it and thought he played that part absolutely terrifying.
Look, it's Johnny from. What do you call it?
Two guys ago in the pizza shop.
It's Johnny.
But what were your favourite like big bads in the show?
Who?
Anyone?
I've always said Willow.
Yes.
I like the Master. I like season 1, the Master. I liked him.
He reminds me of my old head teacher.
He was canvas tits and I loved
him.
He was like, oh.
He looks like my old head teacher as well. It's like terrifying. Doesn't he, Michalea?
I don't know who
Mr. Taylor.
Oh, God rest his soul. No, he didn't.
Yeah, but doesn't he?
Did he also have blood around his mouth at all times?
I used to have a Buffy pen pal that we connected.
Of course you did.
From the 90s, without saying it from the 90s.
Oh, Kelly, you're too precious.
It was in the back of a geeky magazine, and she put our address on, and we wrote for about 3 years. We used to write about the episodes, and she was from Kent. We used to send each other photos of each other. I remember sending her a picture of me in my t-shirt, and she just sent me. Do you remember Tamagotchis and shit? Yeah. She sent me for a loan for a couple of weeks a gigapet that was the Master, and you kept him alive.
That's amazing.
You got him on loan.
And it was in a little coffin thing.
Did you give it back or did you keep it?
No, I gave it back.
Oh, you should have stolen it. You should have
back.
been a true northerner.
Seriously, she was just like I've still got the letters somewhere. I keep.
Shall we find her? So we'll reach out. Kelly's pen friend, please write into us.
She was called Emma.
Emma from down south.
She was from Kent. Yeah, and I remember like saying, oh, because she used to like reply really quickly, and I was just like, oh, you reply so quickly, you must have loads of like pen friends from like your little classified ad. And she went, no, only you.
Oh.
So adorable.
Oh, anyway, back to the master. I just thought he was just great. Pissed off because he's stuck in the fucking hellmouth like a cork in a bottle of wine. You know what I mean? It's just like, of course he's miffed, but he's funny. You've got something in your eye. That's the hilarity. Fantastic. And he was actually fucking scary.
Well,
Visually,
did-
he was
found him
terrifying.
scary.
Do you not think the payoff for him was a bit of a damn squid as well? Because they were built up for the whole thing that he was this master vampire, like if he got on Earth, like out of the Hellmouth, he was going to cause so much shit.
He was
And
so easy to defeat.
Yeah.
And that was crap. I loved it when he came back, for the episode The Wish,
Yeah.
where like Buffy had never come to Sunnydale, because I was just like, oh my God, he is just absolutely terrifying, where he had that like milking factory to get the blood out of people and shit. It was just like, oh my God, that is so insane. But he was
It's a shame that season
genuine.
1 only had 10 episodes. If it had the full 22 episode run that everything
Yes.
else had, that would have been great for the Master, because we deserved more of him.
Yeah, because do you know what? He was just hilarious. I loved his outfit. I loved his, he just, and I did enjoy like
Casual German bondage. Formal German bondage.
Yeah, it was like channeling the Hellraiser.
I wouldn't have mind seeing the Masters, because you know how the vampire's face has changed. His always stayed all scruffed up.
Because
And
he was the ultimate
It would
evil.
have been me, Paul.
it would have been you.
It would have just been me.
Wait there, Graeme. Have you and the Master ever been in the same place at the same time?
Beth was saying I was the Master in the chat earlier. She was like, "Oh well, these persons are these persons," and then I'm the Master, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
she said I was
camping
Willow.
"It's
Yeah,
possible."
Are you going to tell
Willow?
Ant something when you finish this podcast? I'm sorry, Ant. I've been outed.
I just didn't see myself as a Willow.
No, bless you.
I think
Maybe it's 'cause you got the
she's
witch
one of the
factor.
best characters.
Potentially.
Or you just look like a
I
goth.
hate that I die in season 1.
Such a god, that's all.
Well, but-
God.
So, what about you, Michalea? What was your favourite big bad?
I actually really like, because I think it's the most one I connected with as a kid was Angel, actually, when
Mhm.
Angel went bad, and I was just like, oh my God, when she kills him,
Hmm.
just
Oh
traumatized.
my God. Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
in
I
the bloody
cried.
Sarah McLaughlin song going on when she like leaves, and I'm just like, ah! I just, but like as a more like imagery and storyline in that, I actually think the last 3 seasons, like I think Glory is great, not the Ben side. I think we all think that. I like how she's like a valley girl, but then she's actually like a god. I really liked the 3 geeky ones, because you really hate them.
Yeah.
And like when Warren dies, you're like, yes.
Yes.
You're like, and it's really graphic, but like
Mhm.
a,
It's
like
really
quite a
graphic.
PG
Yeah.
TV show. And then the last ones, whether they're evil demon things, and there's so many of them, and it feels like the stakes were higher, and it actually was like, could they actually get out of this?
Yeah.
It's not just one-on-one kind of thing, but yeah. So I think the last ones were a bit more intense, but I do love that Angel when Angel turns and that, even though it's so soppy. When you think about it now, it's quite problematic. The whole, what you said before, oh my God, if you have sex with someone and they're evil, and it's just
Yeah.
She doesn't have a
Lieutenant
very good
Angel.
run. Everyone she has sex with until about season 6 is a dickhead. No, actually, she's still having sex with dickheads in season 6. So it's not very good.
I do wonder though, just in general, if you know how like kids now are watching Friends and going, shit, this is really problematic.
Mhm.
I wonder what kids are, if they ever actually are going to watch Buffy, what
I think
they
it's
would think.
problematic.
Well, to be fair,
Yeah.
one of the episodes I was watching the other day is literally the episode. It's the episode where Spike is, where Drusilla comes back and Spike is
Oh, I love
trying to
that
take Buffy on a date. And he literally, and she's like, why were these vampires nesting here? And he's like, oh, pufters, do you reckon? And I laughed my tits off, but I can imagine a kid nowadays being like, can't believe
Whoa,
you said
no,
that. But I love the idea that he just went, oh, what do you think? Couple of pufters. British thing.
I honestly think it was like it's almost a historical document, because I mean, bear in mind this came out in the 90s, which is like fucking Stone Age now. You know what I mean? Like I remember what was it?
We've already mentioned Tamagotchi.
I mean, one of the iconic lines, if the apocalypse comes, beep me. How ineffectual were fucking pages.
Well, to be fair though, like, it is quite big. We all got beeped today.
You know what I mean? It's just like, I mean, they go to the library and read books. I mean, you're not going to fucking Google it. No, Google wasn't there, dickheads. You know what I mean?
There's a line in the last season, isn't there, when they're trying to find that girl who tells Buffy she's going to die.
Google it. I think it's dirty.
Willow's like, have you Googled her? And Xander's like, she's 13, Willow.
It's just like, it is like a historical, like, document, you know what I mean? I'm like, I always think in series 1 when Willow befriends Moloch the Corruptor on a fucking chat room.
Yes,
you know,
like, we've all been catfish. It was catfishing before catfishing was a real.
You know,
what about you, Sonia? What was your favourite big bad?
I was gonna say like Willow, because I love like the setup of it being the three geeks, and then it subverts it at the last minute, and you're like, oh no, actually it's Willow. But the more we've talked about it, the more I now think that in terms of what I would go back to the most and what I appreciate the most as a big bad, it probably is the mayor, because he is just so fucking funny.
Yeah.
And it's got, like I say, Faith is like my go-to favorite character. So like her arc and him as the dad, and like and he genuinely cares for her, and
he buys her a PlayStation. That's how mint he is.
An apartment, he gives her a nice
buys a PlayStation and isn't a nonce. Like this is just this doesn't compute. Sorry.
There's been too many nonce comments in this podcast today. So.
Graeme is on, so it's expected.
Where, like,
have you watched one of my bloody Twitch?
I was gonna say
the 24-hour one. Someone was sitting there just hammering the nonce reward. That sounds wrong. But if you join me on Twitch, it makes sense.
Context,
I
phrasing.
I love the mayor. And you know, it's little things like he'll do something really, really evil, and then he'll be like, brilliant, and like he's just so chipper and so happy.
So upbeat about being evil.
There's a scene where he's got like the to-do list, and it's just like, you know, eat the crabs, behead this man, get a haircut. And
yeah.
He's like,
meeting him to become immortal.
Oh, that scene! That scene when he's eating the leg coming out of his mouth. Oh,
yeah.
And the fact that he hates germs, so that's like his little, like the tiny like thing of his armor, like, you know, it's just like the unhinged bit. It's just like, he doesn't like germs.
It's like, we'll give him a cold.
Goodwill's just said in the chat, it's been good being monetized for 14 hours. But yes,
I think with all that, like, this is why, like, there is a reason why Buffy is still beloved, and it's because it's amazing. I think the only one we'll probably agree on, because no one's talked about him, is that Adam was shit.
Yeah.
I love the concept of Adam, and it was weird because I always felt like Adam appeared too late. He was there. But then when I watched it back recently, I was like, oh no, he's like episode 13 through 22, so he is in quite a lot, but he's not in that many episodes. I like the concept of him, but season
Frankenstein's
4,
monster,
the initiative can fuck off. That whole thing, like literally, you get a warehouse and line a room with tinfoil, and you're like, that's not a military installation. You know, that's like when you order a military base off Wish. You know, like, and so
like a chuck of potato.
And so I love what he represented, and I love how they got rid of him, and I like the conclusion with him. But they just don't use him.
Yeah, I think with you saying the initiative as well, I think the initiative has shown how shit they were during Hush, that episode. Like how. Like,
I wonder if it's a commentary on the military, because it's so incredibly harsh towards the initiative, because they're so ineffectual, they are so shit, and it's pointing out like, hey, these guys are just following orders. And I think I'm not a fan of the military as a gay and a pacifist, but it's the idea of, soldier boys are cool, but it's the idea of like I don't know. I think it's too cynical. I think the way he wrote them was far too cynical that they are.
Mhm.
So
Definitely a critique. It's definitely a critique of
Yeah.
the power the military yields, and
Mhm.
it's kind of, follow orders, think later.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And
there
yeah,
can't be people like that. They genuinely. I refuse to believe that there's people who are just like, oh, do this
Bloody
thing that
hope
seems
not.
horrendous. Oh well, I'll just do it because I'm told to.
Mhm.
And I think that's the way it paints them. Whereas I prefer
Yeah.
to believe that we don't have a military service that's that dumb.
Mhm. But like going through the episodes as well, because I know we've talked about seasons and stuff. But like, what are the standout episodes? I know we'll probably talk about it now,
Ask
just
me
to say.
about my big bad.
Oh, sorry, Graham.
Oh.
I thought
Yeah,
you've
I
commented
missed
on all of them though, so it's fine.
That's what I get for talking over everyone.
But yes, no,
hijacked everything.
Sorry,
Graham.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, tell me.
So what was your big bad there, sir?
I was gonna say the mayor because I love the mayor. Like the mayor is the idea of
Sorry.
being you can be evil, but then like a good
Likeable.
person.
Likeable
You know,
type.
in that weird way where he had priorities. He literally had this kind of, oh, I want to do these things and stuff, and I want to care
He was
for people. And,
systematic.
yeah, and I think
Yeah,
there was something wonderful about that it was like, because you don't get it. When you get the master where he's just going, oh, we'll just kill everyone. Or like, like Angel where he's like, oh, I'll just end the world. Whereas like the mayor was just like, I just want to be a demon.
Yeah.
Which made no sense. I mean, I don't know why you want to be an immortal man
Mhm.
or a killable snake, which is
Big
weird.
worm.
But,
Big worm.
And to be fair, he ain't
worm.
Principal Snyder, and you're just like going,
I
Oh,
love that bit. I love
but,
that.
but the thing is, though, I bet you were loving having Snyder in with the start being a Star Trek geek as well, though.
It's
Yeah.
so weird though that you just go, wow, Armin Shimmerman is such a good actor. Like he's hateable in that kind of way, but he's so good. He's just the thing of you despise Principal Snyder. Like but that's good acting. But I'm actually kind of tempted to say Glory in a weird way because Glory, like, I love the concept. I genuinely, when you just go, oh, she's a god.
Yeah.
She's a god.
How do you
But
kill a
in mortal
god?
form, what would they be like? And then I love
Yeah.
the idea that she's just this kind of valley girl, like
Mhm.
I don't know, it's weird. I really like Glory as
Yeah.
a villain because like she's like the mayor where she's so sort of like just making jokes and stuff, but actually is a horrible killer. But at the same time, you kind of feel sympathetic for her a little bit, where she's just like, it's odd, but I really like her because she was the antithesis of Buffy.
Mhm.
Like, because Buffy was very much like great power, but restrained and with responsibility and awareness, whereas Glory was very much great power with absolutely no control whatsoever.
Just no fucks given type thing.
Yeah, and Ben was kind of hot, so
Yeah.
he had that whole thing where you look, when you go on holiday and there's a guy who offers to do a portrait or whatever, and it's always cartoony where they bring out all your weird features. That was Ben, where they basically just where he's 90% chin and then sort of like nose and stuff.
Have you seen him now though?
No.
Oh, no.
I haven't
He's
Googled him.
in there's a show called How to Get Away with Murder,
Yeah.
and he's the lawyer's friend. He's got a beard and he is hot.
Hold on, I'm Googling it now. Charlie Weaver. Hold on. Charlie Weaver. This is why I put into Google and it auto-fills nudes. Here we are. Charlie Weaver, movies and TV shows, that's fine. Charlie Weaver, relationships, getting warmer. Charlie Weaver, wife, there you go.
Oh dear, sorry.
There we go. A lot of people wondering if he's married. Right.
But yes. So,
He is. Shame.
because I know, as you said, like everyone's probably got like favorite episodes that do stand out. We'll talk about the one that we did touch on earlier, and it's brought up a few times, like how different and just interesting that Hush was. Because I know we've had like silent episodes or different things. I know recently we got a silent episode in Only Murders in the Building and the Apartment, like say Steve Martin and thing, and that was breathtakingly done, like well. But this one, like, changed the game a little bit and the premise of it, and the monsters generally were terrifying in this episode. I don't know if anyone else actually like was a fan of this episode or.
I fucking love this episode. This episode was just, oh god, favorite bit was the fucking PowerPoint presentation Do you remember fucking PowerPoint acetate? Fucking bitch. It was just like you fucking wheels it in. It's just like when people used to wheel in the fucking TV and the VHS player,
Oh,
you
the
know?
projectors.
Anyway, and just like these little drawings were class. And I remember I got my friend, I'll give her an honourable mention, Danny. I did the Buffy, Buffy Will Patrol Tonight. I did a cross stitch of the girl with the and I did that, and I just loved that. And when she was like, "Do I stake it?" and it looks like she's having a wank. It's just, just like, oh, it's
really
so
does
funny.
help.
Graham's back in the room now.
Told you, right? I told you.
That's
Back in the room. But it was just, it was so atmospheric. The music, the obviously they were absolutely chilling. The gentleman, was just
the gentleman.
It was the idea of like how wonderful they are, like because we don't get much background on things. We just go, oh, it's a demon. It looks like this. Oh, it's dead.
Yeah.
The gentleman, the amount of exposition we get for them just from them existing, like they float. They genuinely float. They have these minions that are in straitjackets, and you're just like, what the fuck? I want to know more about this. And then that's it. They are so characterful.
Yeah,
amazing.
Absolutely love them.
I've not seen the episode, so
get it down. Yeah, it's fucking class. It's great.
I've not seen it all the way. No, I've seen bits and pieces of it, like from clips and such, but I've not seen it all the way. I couldn't
Quite
tell
standalone too. Something does happen in it where it moves the story forward, but you could watch it and not get confused at all.
We get lesbian
I feel like I've seen so many clips of it that I've like seen its entirety. Oh, there's lesbian magic in it.
Yes.
Lesbian sorcery.
The power of the vagina, but yes.
I'm watching it after this episode. I don't know if that's funny or not.
Lesbian power to move. What is it? A vending machine.
Vending
machine.
That's it.
So, what other episodes would you say stand out for you guys?
I really love
the fucking body.
The body, yeah.
That is exactly what I was
Every time I rewatch it, I'm like, am I ready to rewatch this episode?
I cry when I think about it. I cry when I think about it.
It's so difficult. It's literally with my friend recently dying. When I was rewatching it now, I'm like, let's skip the body. Because it's so perfect. It is so perfect about grief, and
it's the initial everything's all deadly silent, and it's the going from the mom to mommy. And the cracking of the ribs, like that, because that's so fucking real. Like that happens in CPR. Like if you're not cracking a rib, you're not doing it right. And it's too fucking real. And as much as I get your frustrations and hatred of Dawn, she is fucking annoying. When Buffy's having to tell Dawn the news, and you're not in the room for it because you don't need to be in the room for it. It's just the whole episode in itself. There's no music in it, I don't believe.
No,
I don't feel there's
it's considered part of the trilogy because Hush is voiceless. Once More with Feeling is all music, and The Body is silent. There's not one bit of score in it. Yeah,
I learned something new there.
The trilogy.
And it's this idea of like we take the piss out of Dawn or whatever, and we dislike her as a character, but she's essential for Buffy. The same way, obviously, Goodwill's in the chat. Goodwill has been making me laugh throughout in the chat, so he's wonderful. In Star Trek,
are you classing Goodwill in the same category as Dawn?
No.
That we all hate him, but we need him.
I mean, as in Goodwill just appears in season 5, and we're like, oh, we back with Goodwill.
The fuck's the frosted tips doing in there?
The fact, hold on, are these my frosted tips? In Star Trek Deep Space Nine, there's a character, the main character of Cisco. Main character of like Captain Cisco has a son, and the relationship between him and his son is really important. But his son is a bit of a shit character, and I don't like him at all. But he's essential because he allows Cisco to be a dad. And Dawn's that way, where Dawn is essential because she gives Buffy that extra character development of being a big sister, of like being the parent figure and having all this responsibility once Buffy's mum dies. And so it's annoying, like Dawn does annoy me, but I think she's essential for the later seasons, and they use her well.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a great scream. She has the best teenage girl scream ever. The
Wait there,
entire audition
Graeme,
must
why are you
be-
trying to get teenage girls to scream?
Well, I'm not going to do it that way, am I? Oh, Christ.
But yes, Michalea, what were you going to say? Which one was?
I don't know what. Do I know what it's called? Nah, it's gone out of my head. The one where Angel gives all the little like creepy notes and then kills Jenny Calendar.
Oh, yes.
Oh
Passion.
my
That was
god.
called?
Yeah.
Mm.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
Oh my
That
god,
is
the
just-
music in that episode. It's Giles singing.
Who were
And, like,
Giles? It's
Oh, my heart.
Giles.
My
Yeah.
heart.
We haven't really talked about Giles, but like
Yeah,
Giles
fucking
is,
love Giles.
I love
and
Giles.
the more I get older, I'm like, yeah,
The
he's the
Nescafe
one.
Yes, I get it.
Not Spike anymore.
Yeah.
Giles.
Giles.
Yeah, I love Giles.
Yeah, I
yeah,
think.
that
It's
one
such a good
just-
episode.
How he like he starts with like killing Willow's fish.
It's just
And then-
sadistic.
Yeah, it's just like old like it's I don't know if it aged well because it's like real creepy. But it's that kind of like him from like back in the day, like drawing the pictures and all that stuff, and it has that kind of like really gothic, I don't know, like evil gothic thing. I don't know, but it just has some sort of like from another time kind of period. And then when he kills Jenny Calendar, it's like, you bastard. And I think that's when it turns, isn't it? Because you want him to die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Stakes
it was-
are real at that point, aren't they? Like,
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
because she was a good
Yeah.
character as well. I enjoyed her. Like again, I think poor Giles has got probably the worst thing because every woman he either has a relationship with or goes with meets dies in like
The student girl seems to get out scot-free. But I think she's got the sense to be like, let's not sleep with
is
you.
that
anymore,
Olivia?
because-
She like
Yeah.
goes back to England, doesn't she?
She
She's like,
literally,
"Yeah."
hush happens and she's like, I'm gonna go back. To it." It's like, well done, get away while you can.
He's
Here's
got,
a
like-
bit of pop trivia for you. Did you know Jenny Calendar was one of the dancers for Prince?
no.
No.
What?
Wow.
Yes.
No.
I hope I haven't had a dream about that.
I
wasn't
Google
say
that for
that.
myself, but I'd have to
Well,
take
I'm sh-
Charlie Weber image search off the screen.
I'm sure she was one of the lasses that like knocked around with Prince, the artist formerly known as Prince.
Oh,
But
That's
I
so
liked
cool.
Jenny Calendar when she was introduced in series 1 with, like she was funny, she was quirky.
Yeah.
And as you say, you want like Giles to get his end away somewhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know he got with Buffy's ma,
yeah.
which was
Oh, did he?
Yes, because
Yeah.
when they
That
pretended
was
to be
one
teenage
time.
boys again, he stopped being a greaser.
Band candy.
a band.
But then again,
Yeah.
Buffy's mum, I will admit, is a MILF.
Yeah.
Straight up
Yeah,
MILF.
she
Like,
is.
Yeah.
who in the chat
Yeah.
agrees that Buffy's mum is a MILF?
Absolutely.
I just recognised her from what was it? Honey, I Shrunk
Honey, Shrunk the
Kids.
Kids.
I recognise her
Oh,
from
yeah.
I recognised her from Clue. 'cause she's
Oh,
amazing.
what a film!
Oh,
Clue.
God, she's in Clue, yes. I love that.
Well, wait.
It's Scarlet, isn't it? Yeah.
What about you, Kelly? What would you say is your standout episode?
I really liked the pack.
Mm.
Because it gave like Xander some character development and he looked so hot in earthy colours. But once like watching it like in like retrospect, I really enjoyed The Wish.
Hmm.
I've got
Yeah.
such love for Cordelia.
Hmm.
She was
Oh,
fucking-
we haven't even mentioned Cordelia.
No.
I know,
Cordelia is one of the best characters
Yeah.
in it, but it's kind of such a given that we're not mentioning it, you know?
Yeah.
But like the stuff she goes through, I mean, she falls for an absolute geeky loser who, cheats on her, and then she falls through some stairs and gets impaled. This is fucking shit.
Mhm.
And and when she wishes, like I wish Buffy Summers had never come to Sunnydale, and obviously it brings Anya into the mix as well, who is just a great character. But I just love the whole speculation of like what life would have been
What
like
if?
had she not come to Sunnydale. And you just felt for Cordelia when she was just like, but she's not here. It was different when she was here. And it was just like little things where at the school everyone's wearing muted colours because it's proven that vampires are attracted to
It's like bright
brash
colours, yeah.
colours. Yeah. And
Oh,
and things like that. And then you see, Buffy see Buffy where they get scar and she's get like licking her boot and stuff to clean it, and it's just like, oh my god, what the hell? And you see, you know, Xander and Willow as
Oh,
like,
Vampire
they are
Willow,
the
though.
bad
Sorry,
guys,
Vampire Willow, yes.
yeah, and it's just like, oh my god. And then you see Angel all kind of used as a little well, she calls him a puppy. She's like playing with matches on him and torturing him and stuff. And it's just like, I love
Life
that
goals.
kind of insight to a different sort of kind of what life would have been like, and it would have been fucking shit. And it kind of gives merit.
Well, it is basically like the It's a Wonderful Life episode, but with vampires type thing.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful life with vampires.
And how
I'm watching that
awesome
film.
Vampire Willow. It's just like,
Did Clarence get his wings? But yeah.
Every time a bell rings, a vamp gets his teeth.
I am watching that one.
I'll do a gentleman clap for that.
I do actually get shivers when Anya says, "How do you know that this world isn't better than you know?" And he was like, "Because it has to be."
Yeah.
It's just like that utter faith he has that life can be better, and it's just like, oh god, heroes whinging about first world problems, you know, and there's no fucking Wi-Fi in here, and then you've got them living in fucking, you know, like putting a straw in a human and sucking the blood out of them, you know what I mean? Just like things.
Wait, I'm sure Graeme will come up with a commentary about that in a second, but yeah.
Never do it with a straw. Literally, it's
But yes.
Never do it with a straw.
If it's that thin, don't date.
The other episode I wanted to touch on as well, because which I didn't realize, it divides the Buffy community, like from just talking to people on the Nerdy Up North. I thought everyone loved this episode because I adore it. Is the musical episode. I didn't realize how much hate this episode actually gets.
I don't like musicals.
That shocks me.
I don't like we went through this before. I don't like musicals. I haven't seen The Sound of Music. I'm not going to fucking watch it either.
Right.
It's interesting. The concept of Sound of Music is basically, what if there's a musical with Nazis? And you're like, okay, that's it.
Well, it did that with the producers as well. So springtime for Hitler.
I've never been a fan of musicals. I remember when I was like part of the burlesque posse, and they were like, "Oh, we'll do this musical, do that musical," and I was like, "What? Musical?" And they're like, "You don't like musicals?" And I was like,
so Kelly's not a fan of the Once More film, but anyone else like a lover or a hater of it?
Well, I love musicals and I fucking love it. So
I'm not that into musicals, to be fair, which is obviously technically a gay crime, but but it's the fact of like, even if you're not into musicals, Once More We're Feeling is so perfectly executed. It is such a fucking achievement. You know, it's ludicrously good. Like, it's for me where even the songs I don't like, you just go, the lyrics are so perfect. Like the idea of the exposition carried across by these lyrics and the concept of it all, it's weird. But for an episode that they were like, oh, let's do this as a novelty, it's still ludicrously good narratively.
Did they start it? Is that like, you know how like Grey's Anatomy did a musical episode?
They did.
Like,
they were the first ones to do it, I think.
Yeah.
Grey's Anatomy did a musical episode.
So did
I have
Scrubs.
not seen it, but yes.
Is it true?
Scrubs just had them playing songs.
Well, Scrubs I know, but
No, someone had a brain injury, so that actually heard everyone singing.
He hears everything in song because she's got a brain tumor. Yeah. It's so good.
I'm so confused.
Anyway, I love musicals and I love the episode.
Yes.
So I'm with Michalea on that one. I actually downloaded the MP3 of it and I used to just listen to it rather than watch it.
I think I got it on CD. I was going to say,
I have it on CD somewhere.
Like all the speech would be in and I'd be like, oh, I wonder what they're wearing.
The reason why I do look, I'm a big musicals fan as well. I loved it, but it kind of brought forward the story and it served its purpose as well. So that's why I kind of like say where Everyone's Truths came out, because it kind of started the rocky relationship between Xander and Anya. It started the split up between Willow and Tara, and then you find out like the big reveal that Buffy was in heaven. But there is some. Never. But there is some banger songs, like say,
There's
like
some
Walk
cracking
through
songs
the
in it, man.
fire.
Yeah.
I love
Well, I
when
actually-
it's Giles
this is-
and Tara at the same
Yeah,
time.
and then
So
also Giles, like Giles' stance on things of just him being like, "Oh, I'm not helping by being here. I'm stunting Buffy's development by doing everything for her." But it's also, this is something I literally watched it this morning to catch up on it, and it's so clever. The music is so clever. Like the fact of, you know, at the end after they have like what's the last song called? It's called yeah, the last song. And it has Buffy and Spike meeting outside, and then they both reprise their songs, where they reprise.
Where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here?
Buffy reprises "Walk Through the Fire," which is her sort of, okay, I've got to do this. This is how I'm genuinely feeling. And then Spike's "Rest in Peace," and they go together. Like they've written the songs so that, to demonstrate that Buffy and Spike are feeling the same thing and they're on the same wavelength at the time emotionally. And you just go,
like that
that
Blink
is so
182
fucking
song.
clever for a musical. What?
That Blink 182 song when they wrote two separate songs and then they put them together.
Oh my
Feeling
god, I
it.
can't believe it. Oh my
Feeling
god, so,
it.
so
Feeling
clever.
So
Yeah,
what-
that's
I
what
don't know
Mogul
if
and
you've
that,
ever
yeah,
seen
yeah.
Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
Yes.
Is absolutely
Oh, someone
amazing.
mentioned that before.
And that's obviously Joss wrote that, but the music in that is so well written and so intertwined as well. It shows, it proves that he's got like a natural musical
he write it?
awareness.
Yeah.
And it's got Nathan Fillion in it.
I was gonna say it helps with me Nathan Fillion hard on and Felicity Day's in it as well.
Oh yeah.
So like say to my, I would happily have a threesome with them too. So that'll be I would, but yeah.
Can I just say though, just on the topic of favorite episodes, I just want to throw this episode out there because I love it so much. Is season, I think it's season 7. It might actually be season 8. I think it's season 8. Conversations with Dead People is my favorite episode ever.
I have
That's the one I
Ouija
literally
board.
just watched.
Conversations with Dead People, a Ouija
It's my
board.
favorite episode. Like the 3 different stories all happening at the same time. You've got Buffy talking to the guy she went to school with. He's a vampire, but he's also a psych major, so he's analysing her. You've got Dawn trying to bring her mum back from the dead, and there's ghostly shit happening in the house. And then you've got Willow in the library talking to the girl who she thinks is speaking with Tara, and then you find out that it's all linked to the first.
But they're all
it's
just.
It's
I've
so
seen that
good.
one.
It's so good.
Oh my god, I've seen it. I don't think there is a series 8. I think it just goes to 7.
Oh, is it 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
yeah,
it's so
it's 7.
scary though. Like,
We just
it's-
want more.
It's a shame. It's a shame that Amber Benson wouldn't come back as Tara. But
Yeah.
but I kind of think it adds to the character, like in that capacity of, because obviously they went,
She
hey,
said
Amber Benson
that.
needs to come back to be like have the first like tricking Willow by being there. But she was like, no, I don't want her to come back as a villain. I don't want her to come back as something misleading. I want her to remain as something pure. But then when you see that episode, you're like, it's a bit weird that it's some random dead girl, talking for Tara. But it would have been amazing if it was like Amber being weird. But at the same time, I don't know. I like that they kept Tara pure. Until the comics fucked it all up. But,
I have a fan theory, and this is like going deep into the like.
I have a theory.
But I have a theory that
or
when
maybe
Dawn
midgets.
sees her mum, I don't believe it's the first. I think it's really her mum.
Right.
Because she
Wow.
appears differently and she doesn't say anything negative or hostile. She just says Buffy won't choose you, which Buffy doesn't choose her later down the line. I think that's more like a prophecy. But I've read so many theories online that are like, no, it's definitely the first. And I'm like, am I the only one who thinks that really is her mom?
Yeah.
I like it, but the whole point is that the first is trying to turn everyone against each other and making them question stuff. So what Joyce does there is exactly what the first would do in that position.
I know.
But I love that theory.
What did you like? See, I've talked about the final season as well. How did you feel about the final season? Like the way it ended, like how
I love it. I love
That
it.
was great.
It's
I
so
absolutely
dark.
love it. It's
so
dark,
dark.
it's horrible. I have watched it about 20 times now, and every time I expect myself to be angry at Buffy, but every time I'm not. I'm always on her side. I'm always mad at the rest of them for turning against her. And I absolutely love two things I absolutely love is when Spike comes back and learns that they've kicked her out,
Mhm.
and he boots off at them, because rightfully so. But secondly is how Faith is actually sort of on Buffy's side too. And
Mhm.
if Faith was this big, bad, horrible person, she could easily be like, yeah, I'm in charge now. Get the fuck out your own house. But she doesn't. She's like, actually, I don't want to be in charge. Like, I'm happy to be with. And I think that shows a lot of Faith's development as well. Plus, Faith comes back, so I'm happy, you know.
I thought that might come in there somewhere. That might be how did it end?
Anya
how
dies.
did the whole
Anya dies.
Anya dies, yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
She gets split in half, bless her.
She does.
I will say though, on the subject of season 7, because I like season 7. I think it's very dark, but fuck Kennedy. Not literally, just
yeah. No, I don't like Kennedy.
Because
I don't like
like
Kennedy.
Tara was
Just one of
Willow's
those
new girlfriend.
Yeah.
Tara's one of my favorite characters. If you'd asked me who my favorite character in it, I'd probably say Tara.
Well, that was going to be later on. That's fine.
But it's the fact of basically, you know this thing where you're just like, no, Willow, you should have joined a nunnery.
Yeah.
Don't move on. You know?
Never forget.
It's just me as a fan being toxic as fuck. But, you know, you sit there just being like, what's she got? She can't even do magic. She's just a fucking wannabe slayer. Fuck Kennedy.
I love the idea of, like, say, like all the slayers or potential slayers being grouped up and thing. The only issue, like, say, and I know it's very minute, is how shit that axe was. Like what they said, like the weapon that was supposed to be the ultimate weapon to save humanity, and it looked like it'd been bought from Toys R Us.
Scythe.
Yeah, the scythe.
One of the best puns ever, though, when Willow's like, "It's true what they say. Scythe matters."
I'm just looking at Sam, and she just hasn't got a clue.
I know.
what's going on.
just lost in
This
it.
one season, Christ.
That's fine.
I really don't know. I don't know how. I know that all these slayers come in. I don't know how. Because I know Felicia Day is one of them.
Yeah.
I did know Anya died. Does Sunnydale go into the hellmouth?
It gets sucked into the hellmouth. Yeah, it basically.
Property prices get cheaper, basically.
Basically, Willow does a set spell with this scythe that makes every potential slayer an actual slayer. So it goes around the world in this amazing, empowering, beautiful clip where all these little girls and older girls, like there's one where a girl's been beaten by her father and she stops his hand and she rears up, and there's a little girl playing baseball and you see her looking terrified and you see her just looking up and having the smile because she's got the slayer power. And it's really, like, say, quite a telling, like, moment, I think, in not just TV, but, like, say, in pop culture, like, say, history. But again, my biggest thing is, like, they use this amazing scythe power that looked like it'd been bought by the Power Rangers.
Well, it might have been.
Yeah. It's not the best. I just love the idea that it was the perfect way to end Buffy, because the whole problem, and I think Michalea said this at the very beginning of the podcast, Buffy never asked for any of this. She never wanted any of this. And I think for her, knowing that she's not the only one anymore must be the biggest fucking feeling of relief.
Yeah.
Like, it's
She
not
can
on my
retire.
shoulders. Yeah, it's not on my shoulders. I can still be someone who feels responsible, but it's no longer my responsibility.
She can actually become a person that isn't.
Yeah, she can be a real person. Yeah.
She is at the beginning of every fucking episode. She is the Slayer. She's like, well, no, I'm someone who likes mint chocolate ice cream.
Yeah. She is a slayer. Well, actually.
Fucking hell.
I also love it raises a really, really good question, and the question actually gets semi-answered in a later episode of Angel, because the last season of Angel follows the last season of Buffy, which is, what if someone who was a potential becomes a Slayer who actually isn't mentally stable? And there is an episode of Angel where they have to try and track down this Slayer who has superhuman strength but who's also really unwell, and she's killing people. So like they have actually created bad guys too, if that makes sense.
But this is the thing that's such a shame that the series didn't continue, because you just go, I want to see the world that happens after this. And I know they do it in the comics, but fuck the comics.
Yeah, the comics weren't done that well.
Buffy being like, oh well, hasn't been foreshadowed at all, but I'm a lesbian now, and you're like, yes, that happens.
But in the world with reboots and
Buffy becomes a lesbian in the comics.
Yeah.
So they continue the show
toxic men.
after the thing, and he just
That's fake.
just gets a girlfriend, and he's just going like, this is out of left field, isn't it? You know,
That's like I know she should not be named. Where J.K. Rowling was like, "Well, he's gay."
to be fair though, in the last Harry Potter book, I read it before she announced that, and I was just like, yeah, I was like, oh, Dumbledore's a bit gay because the relationship he has with what's his name, fucking
Grindelwald.
Grindelwald, yeah. It's, you know, you're just going, oh, that's kind of like a gay relationship, and I kind of read into it that way, and then she confirming it. But there's nothing before then. So I think she got to like the 7th book, and she was like, I'm going to do a gay.
It's not as good as me, Mum, when we were watching Fantastic Beasts, and there was a comment made between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, and me Mum just looked at us and went, no. Shit. And I was like, okay. Like in the middle of the picture, I think it was something about their friendship and that, and my mum just went, no shit. Really loudly so everyone could hear.
So since you've mentioned your mum as well, she'll probably watch this episode. So hi Sammy's mum, hope you're well.
I'm just saying here, just advice for someone, friendship does not involve penetration. That's, you know, well,
where the hell what?
I've been doing it all wrong then.
My mum will not be watching because she is
swanning in a hotel somewhere.
Yeah, but I thought you watched the Michalea episodes because she does not bothered about Sam. She just watches the Michalea episodes.
She doesn't want to see me.
Maybe she just wants to see me. So hi Sammy's mum. But yes.
No, we need to be focused on Joyce's mum here. That's the priority bill.
Buffy's mum.
Buffy's mum. But yes, in a world with spin-offs and everything that's coming back, like say I know Disney Plus Disney's announced that they're doing a Firefly reboot, and they're going to be bringing that back as well. Yep, different.
Whoa, Sonia.
Different.
What?
Calm down.
Different.
I've never seen you get so excited.
It's unfortunately different casts, so it's not going to be the same. But there's not been much talk about it.
Back down.
Would you think this would be rife for not a reboot but a restart with, as you said, everything that's been gone? We could have new stories in the Slayerverse.
Wow, that was like unanimous.
The perfect thing about Buffy the film to Buffy is that it was not good. It didn't do well. It had a promise. And this is the thing with reboots. You always get, oh, you know that thing that's really good? Let's redo that. Why can't you get the thing that's... Yeah, but why can't you get the thing that, oh, this had real promise? Let's make it into an iconic TV series.
A reboot wouldn't work, but a same universe would. If there's a new character, a new set of things, and then you could be like, oh, and Giles appears in one episode or something. That's how you do it. If they did a reboot, fuck it.
But to be fair though, in the world where we've just had Picard season 3, check out the podcast to hear Graeme's thoughts. Where they've basically just hit a home run. Like say if you like Star Trek and like decent TV, Picard season 3 has been a home run for TV as a whole. Why, as you said, Graeme just said, if we did a new Buffy in the same universe, just a different story, why wouldn't that work? You don't even have to have the main characters, you can have them as cameos or even just as reference points.
The world is amazing. The idea that this is how vampires work, this is how demons work, this is slayers, all of that mythology is there to play around with. You could literally just go, cool, we'll set one in England. Well, imagine in Spain. You just be like, okay, well, how do slayers work in Spain? What are Spanish vampires like? Do they all have sombreros? I mean, obviously one of my friends, Teresa, comes from Spain, and obviously I keep telling her that Spain's not real. She can tell me where she's really from. And it's Ashington.
Like Brockley Wins.
Yeah,
because I was told that Brockley Wins wasn't a lectricity place.
Nah, it's not. It's just made up. It's like
go past it on the metro all the time. Never met someone from
never
Brockley
stop.
Wins.
Nah, never.
I've heard if you step off the platform, it's just blackness.
It's just the darkness.
It's
like the never-ending story. The nothing is just come and taken over.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Sonia, what about you? What are your thoughts on potentially moving into a new Buffyverse?
No. I think for me, like I say, that One Angel episode where it sort of visited the aftermath of Slayers being Slayers everywhere. I loved that. I loved that they addressed that, and part of me would have loved more of that. But I think if they were to reinvent it today, it would be set in today's day and age, and I don't think I would like that. I like that it was pre the internet and that it was all books and that it was all. And even in the later seasons, they didn't really use Google. They would go onto some obscure search engine called the Demon website, and they would just type in ghosts or demons.
Or just go on YouTube, how to slay a vampire and stuff like that.
We totally changed the dynamic of how the show works, and what was best about it was the research in their books. And I feel like it wouldn't make sense to do it for today's youth to not be using the internet. I think that would change how that show works.
Well, to be fair though, there'll be the police would be called sin as an old man went up to a young girl in school. You're the chosen one. I have to train you. That would alarm bells would be going off all over the place.
Yeah, automatically.
I'm watching
have already been called.
Yeah, I'm watching a lot of SVU at the minute, and I can just see that as a fucking episode on there. So
Stranger danger.
I will say though, like fucking when we're talking about books and stuff, like the suspension of disbelief where it goes, hey, here's a one-off event that happens to be covered in a book 1,000 years ago, or like, or where it's got like the mask where the mask raises the dead or whatever, and then there's a book detailing that this is how it works and this is how you defeat the person, and you're like, how do they know this?
How quickly do they read?
They wrote this book.
Giles has all the books.
Yeah, and it was just
all
this
the books,
weird thing
all
where
the
it's just
reading.
like, how does... Yeah, it doesn't make any sense that it's like, but you must have already defeated the demon for this book to exist to know how to defeat the demon. Or is it that a demon appears?
History is cyclical. It happened already.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, actually, interestingly, my brother pointed something out to us when he watched Buffy recently, which was that there's a lot of references to every X amount of years there's an earthquake, and the town is swallowed and rebuilt, and it happens cyclically over and over again, which actually even implies Sunnydale could be rebuilt after the events of season 7. And it would all happen again. It always happens the same.
Freaking Taylor Wimpey will be building freaking houses on top of Sunnydale. Like the fucking bastards outside of mine.
Absolutely.
Houses on the green belt.
You're going to put a KFC on the corner.
Fucking arseholes. Fucking little.
So, Michaela, please bring some sensibleness to us.
Name our green belt.
This is not someone said this on the internet about like the Ripper Files and having like a prequel to Giles and that. I think that would be, and like just like make it like real sexy, make it like just two little
very English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the sex is like, oh my, I've arrived.
Where he hunts like some British monsters, like the Hound of the Baskervilles and stuff like that, and like go to urban legends.
Like an edgy Sherlock, but like with magic.
It needs to be an
with
American
Giles.
version of English. You know how when Willow's getting therapy in, like beginning of season 7, and Willow's in England with Giles. And it literally is just wild fields, and Giles is riding a horse for some reason because that's England. That's
how England works, Graeme. I ride my horse to the shop every day.
Yeah, the American version of England. That's what it would need
Oh,
to be.
Penny Pooch.
So yeah, because I think that was one of the spin-offs that didn't get picked up. I think the Ripper season was one of the things that was meant to come out.
Great.
Yeah.
Kayla, tilt your camera. You've cut your head off.
I know, but look how cute he is.
Bloody gorgeous.
But yes,
He is stunning.
but yeah, I wouldn't have minded a Ripper. Like I think after they finished with Angel, because there was loads of spin-offs that were meant to be planned and stuff, they were going to be building a whole like network just based off Buffy. But I think by the end of
I think they could do it.
Definitely. But I think by the end, everyone was a bit Buffy'd out because it wasn't doing well in the ratings. And I know the last season of Angel was cut short, so they had to rush the ending. And I personally like the ending of Angel as well.
I do, but I would have loved more.
Yeah.
I would have loved more.
I've never seen a single episode of Angel.
Oh God, I loved
really
Angel.
Good. It's so dark though. Like it's so adult compared to Buffy.
The fact that Angel pretty much kills off a character. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but it kills off a character and then replaces them with something else. That's crazy. I've never seen that.
But didn't the character, because he had a drug problem, wasn't it?
Died.
No, it's not that. It's not.
No,
that.
not.
Oh.
One of
not
the other
Mark
main
from
characters that
Roseanne.
they kill.
I'm annoyed though because you know how I was slagging off like Buffy for not having any fanciable main characters. I would fucking do Doyle, and then the bloody actor,
Who
fucking
wouldn't?
Doyle.
the bloody actor
Doyle,
gets
unreal.
a drug addiction and gets fired from the show.
It's
Fuck you,
Mark
Doyle.
from Roseanne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was beautiful in Roseanne.
Yeah, and he died.
Yeah.
Oh,
But,
didn't
And
I
I didn't
die
point
as
this
well?
one
The guy
out.
who
Yeah.
plays
Yeah.
Lorne died. That's so
Yeah.
sad as well.
So
So, yes.
sad.
So
The guy
Yeah.
who plays Lorne in Angel, the green guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
He
I've
died
seen
in
clips
real
in that because,
life.
like I say,
I was- yeah.
I'm so
He
fan of
actually
it.
died after weird as fuck, but he had dentistry done and it led to a blockage in his heart. So he
Yeah.
died
What?
at the dentist.
That's a really bad.
see, that's why I don't go to the
so
dentist.
glad- I'm so glad you didn't tell Michalea this like a week ago. So could it just been?
I
But-
had some work done.
That's why she lowered the camera down, wasn't it? But yes. But yes. So to finish off, who was your favourite characters then? So we'll go with Sammy because I know you've been very quiet, bless you, and just listening.
I know I've been love listening to it all. And you find I was going to be quiet on this episode. There's not a lot I can bring to the table. I do apologize. Favorite characters would have to be Anya, and because the song in the musical alone, Bunnies, is
Mhm.
just fucking brilliant. I still sing it to this day. But Tara.
Mhm.
I think I paid attention to Tara's arc a lot. I love the episode with her family. The ending of that brings me to tears every time when she realizes that she's not a monster,
Mhm.
she's not a demon.
By being
Um,
punched in the face, which is
yes.
hilarious.
Yes, but it's the look afterwards when she's like, oh, okay. Her death scene absolutely tore a new one. There's been a few deaths on screen that have gotten me. Michalea will know the first one will be Denny Duquette. Will always and forever. We mourned for that character for a very long time, and Tara is another one that I mourned a lot for. I was heartbroken. I didn't really care what happened to Willow afterwards. I was just caring about in the moment.
Fuck Willow.
Fuck Willow.
Yeah, but fuck Kennedy, then fuck Will.
In that order. But I wasn't bothered about how it was going to affect her. It was that moment. In that moment when she turns around and says, "You've got red on you."
It's the fact that Tara's first response after being shot is care for others.
Yeah, is to look at Willow. I love the fact that did they flail him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
skinned
Yeah,
alive.
they flayed
Do
him.
you know what's so funny is
How do
that
you know
they
that
did that.
word?
I'll tell you why. Because
She's just watched The
they-
Evil Dead.
that and they will show that on a PG program, yet in Game of Thrones when one of the
Okay,
houses'
there we go.
thing is to flail people, they won't even show it on there. They'll show you aftermath, which but they showed it on that program, yet not show it on Game of Thrones, where you would expect that to happen. Like a whole house, their threat is to flail people, and yet we never see
And-
it actually happen.
And
It's
yet they'll show
crazy.
women's tartars. It's just
Exactly, it is
Who knows?
ridiculous. But yeah, just I find it ridiculous that kind of show would show it, but Buffy did show it. I loved Warren's death scene. Not gonna lie, it was satisfying because of
he
what
was
he
a
did.
cunt.
He was a fucking
Yeah.
absolute vulva.
Second time that was being used today in Buffy. I can't actually believe it.
Sorry, I loved out the sea bum, like, but aye.
No, I rolled it out, so yeah. it's-
Yeah,
Yeah,
good lad,
so-
good lad.
Anya and Tara.
Cool.
That's mine.
What about you, Sonia?
I don't know.
Excellent answer.
I really would struggle with this. I really want to say Giles, and I feel like I'm sad as fuck for saying that. But like,
Fine.
I love him, and I think as I've grown up, my answers have changed
Mhm.
depending on.
Yes, yeah.
You know, when you're young, you're just like, oh, they're so cool, and then you get older, and you're like, a bit problematic. The
Mhm.
only person who is consistent and who I love is Giles, and it's those episodes where you see those flashbacks to his Ripper days that makes him more interesting.
Mhm.
I love the episodes when Ethan Rain comes to visit and you get those flashbacks. And I love Band Candy when he's like being a bit of a twat, and he's got his tabs in his sleeve, and he's like, "You're my bloody Slayer, punch him in the face." And then she punches him, and he's like, "Yes." Like I absolutely love Giles, and as a teenager and now as an adult, I
Yeah.
still find him consistent. So yeah, I think we all need a little Giles in our life.
Definitely.
And I would have loved to have had a father figure like him growing up.
Yeah.
Things might have turned out differently.
Bless ya.
Sonia.
What about you, Graeme?
It's a weird one because obviously I wouldn't have thought of Giles because we overlook Giles because he's so essential, but he is amazing. Like, and it's this idea of like, because he starts out as a watcher, which is to look after Buffy, and then he becomes a father figure. And it suggests something about how society works, where basically, shouldn't they be the same thing? And they're not. Being a watcher is not being a father figure, and that's why the Watchers Council is a big pile of shit, as we see later on. But I'm agreeing with Sammy. I think my favorite character is Tara, but shout out to Anya, because Anya is one-liner wise, wow.
Yeah.
Like in Once More We're Feeling Alone, Anya just has some of the funniest fucking lines ever. You know, like where Dawn comes in and says, "Oh, I gave birth to a pterodactyl," and she's like, "Oh my god, did it sing?" You know, just every line she has in it is a singer. And then the idea, like, you know, Buffy's talking about the song she sang or whatever, and she's just like, "Would you describe it as like sort of a, you know, like a boring number or more of a breakaway pop hit?" You know, it's and this obsession.
I'm still laughing at Sonia getting called out by Joe in the chat.
He knew. His dad's my dad. He knew what I was going to say.
But I would say that the character that I resonated most with is Tara. And it sounds silly saying this, that pop culture and shows we watch as kids can form us as adults. And, you know, you can learn lessons from them. But the fact is, seeing a character like Tara made me want to be like that person in terms of being selfless and being caring. And I don't know, I think that had the biggest influence on me. The fact that like she was, you know, she started off like very shy or whatever, but then in the end, she's purely what's the word when you're totally
Badass.
Selfless? Well, badass, yeah, but the idea of she's only there to help people. She's only there in a good way, and she's the most non-toxic character in the whole thing. Like Buffy does horrible stuff, you know, it's like she has rebel periods. Xander, as we've discussed, is toxic as fuck. Giles has had this history, but he's grown up with it, and it's only age that's got him out of it. But Tara is very much like
Pure.
yeah, like really pure. And I like the idea that, you know, she went, hey, the first can't even come back as her because she's so fucking
It's
pure.
too pure, yeah.
And you know, and it's that idea of just like, and obviously the character development of when she gets to season 6. Well, is it season 6? Yeah, season 6. Is it? Yeah, season 6, and she's like standing up to Willow and being like, "No, you need to stop this. You need to do this and whatnot." It's great. I mean, it's also, what was I going to say? I was going to say something and it was quite good. I don't know. But I really like her as a character, and I thought she was really impressive. But it's also the fact of, it's a bit weird because my male mates, because we're talking about like mates that you chatted to about the show when you were watching it and stuff. All of my mates who watched it were like hetero, like, you know, straight men. They hated Tara because they loved Oz. Like if this like podcast here was like 6 like straight men talking about it, they'd be talking about how amazing Oz was, how much they resonated with Oz, because he did. And then when Tara came along and replaced Oz, wow, the toxicity was real, you know. And for me, I was like, no, fuck it. Tara's the person I empathize with, you know. Like, yeah, anyway. There we go.
Cool. What about you, Michalea?
Because you've said such beautiful points, I'll take it from a different
I'll say
angle.
the C word. I'll say cunt just to narrow it.
When I was younger, I had a bit of an obsession with men. I really like.
What?
It was never the women that I had.
Sammy, turn away now.
And everything that I am now, like I do a lot about feminism and in my work and all this stuff, blah blah blah. So I am very much like women. But when I was younger in that time, I was just obsessed with men. Like Johnny Depp used to be my everything and everything all at once, and so was Spike. And yes, he is very problematic in it, but I just have this absolute love for this character. And even when I watched it last year, I was just like, yeah, still.
Will you be heading to Newcastle to see him in a few weeks, though? Because he is going to be there.
Absolutely not. But, not my bag. But it's quite nice too, just to like that whole like with Buffy's kind of had like this toxic brand around it recently, and all these obsessions I had with men when I was a kid. Johnny Depp, it's just these like toxicities of like, oh my god, like everything you know is a lie because they're all just twats and horrible people. And it seems like Spike and as James Masters is a really nice person, and so I'm kind of like still connected with that. And I know it's a bit like outside of the box of Buffy, but like I still have an absolute soft spot for Spike. And I just think it's really nice when you see him in interviews and that today. That he just actually seems like a really nice.
That he's not a bad end. He's not one of those.
He's not. I've seen him because he's been doing a lot of the. Oh God, is it the MCM ones he's been doing a lot of?
And the Monopoly ones he's been doing. He's doing York and Newcastle this year.
Yeah. His approach to people is just utterly beautiful. Like he's so respectful and just
does he slip a finger in?
Not today.
Different needs.
Not today.
I'll tell you when I meet him in Newcastle.
I'll buy a ticket.
I'll pay money for that.
But yeah, a bit different because I get it. Like there's so many lovely complex characters, but just of me back then to watching it now, he still resonates.
Still stands up
on and off camera. Yeah.
Cool. What about you, Kelly?
Well, if you'd have asked us when I was a kid, it would, you know what I mean? But I've had a bit of a brain fart as well. I need to share something before I reveal my character. It's quite funny.
I was going to say, Kelly has slept with the cast.
No. I did a course on Buffy the Vampire Slayer at Sunderland College, so I've actually got a certificate of media psychology in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I'm very proud of.
So what job prospects can you get with that?
Wow.
Fuck all.
Palace advertising.
Yeah, so I got that.
Kelly, you should have opened with
Vampire
that.
Virgins module at uni, and Buffy was it was for
Why
English
didn't you
literature
guys
degree.
open with this?
We've got the real experts there.
My name
Totally
is Kelly,
forgot.
and
Too
I
much
have a
pressure.
degree in Buffy.
Well, I did
And I
actually.
get my tits out in public.
Listen, this is so
Baby
good.
feeding.
I did. I'm trying to be face
Can't believe he's got
hurting.
you.
My face is hurting.
Oh, God.
I remember, I went on a date with Adam about 12 years ago because he tried to woo me before we actually kind of got together, and I told him that I had a certificate that I've got Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
And did he have to marry you on that spot? Was that like...
Because I was short off. I've done major psychology and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like, and
On the Tinder.
he made us a certificate.
Oh,
Like known loads about Buffy, and he laminated it.
Right.
Aww.
And he gave it.
You better have it. You better have it with you now. Show it now.
I don't have it with me.
You're sacked. You're fired. You're fired now, Kelly.
I forgot about it.
Kelly, we are a professional podcast now. We could have said we had
No,
experts on
it's been
here
a while.
who had certificates.
Let's give her a due. Let's give her a due. She woke up this time, not like
Yeah,
last
that's
time.
true.
We were going, Kelly, where are you?
Please. But yeah, and I was looking for it earlier, and I was like,
Kelly.
Adam, where the fuck is it? Is it in the bookcase? He was like, oh, I'm sure it's in one of your boxes of shit. But like, yeah, I just,
Aw.
yeah, like a certificate, because I was
Kelly, if you
obviously
find
trying
it,
to
post
show
it in the
off.
group.
I will. I was like fucking showing off, and he's just trying to get into me knickers to make like a fucking, a certificate for it.
Is that
Getting with
Well,
a
it worked. You've got 2 kids later.
I was gonna say, yeah. How to get past the Kelly's chastity belt? Give her a certificate saying that she knows shit about stuff.
Anyway, I'll go back to my favorite character. This has actually shocked me a little bit, but from doing my rewatch of series 1 to 3, again, which I enjoyed, I really love Cordelia.
Yeah.
Do you know what? She's fucking funny. She's just, and the thing is, she's got that whole sort of, yeah, I'm popular, but I'm only popular because I'd rather be alone with people.
She was amazing. She was amazing in Angel as well. She carried Angel.
If you include Angel,
fantastic.
she's got the best character development in the whole
She's
universe.
amazing.
She's so good in the capacity of like Cordelia is like, she's just fucking amazing. Like the fact is she's so relatable, but then not relatable in exactly what you're saying, and also really well written.
Really well written.
Jonathan Ross Christ.
Are you going to
Wiggly.
She's 3-dimensional, but by coming across as 2D.
Yeah.
Because what I really like was it one of the episodes out in series 3, Earshot, where Buffy gets like telepathy from one of the demons, and she literally thinks what she says. So she's like, "Oh, what's this got to do with me?" And then she says, "Oh, what's this got to do with me?"
Can I leave?
To be honest, and yeah, can I leave now? And to be honest, I think that's really good because she doesn't give things away.
Yeah.
You know, but there is more to her. I mean, when she's working in the shop, because her dad's had like a fucking tax fraud thing, and she's working in a dress shop, and because she has to earn money and things like that. And she's just so lovely, and she gets hurt so much, and she becomes part of the group, and she becomes quite a big part of the group. Yet she still kind of like hangs around with them. I know she's like lusting after Wesley and stuff, and I love how like Alison Hannigan is actually married.
Yeah.
And they've got beautiful children.
He's in there.
It's just like,
He's in How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
It's just
He's Sandy.
I follow Charisma Carpenter on Instagram, and she's just so lovely, and I just like, there's just something about Cordelia that is like my heart's really opened up to her and warmed to her, because I'm seeing it with a different set of eyes.
And it breaks,
you know what I mean?
It breaks your heart that she kind of had a really bad time.
Yeah.
And, like, ruined everything.
Yeah.
Well, Goodwill was saying it was really toxic on the set of Buffy, and I didn't know anything about all of this. But what I'll say about Cordelia is the idea of like, you know what it's like, where in school, you have the bullies and stuff, and you just go, why are they being such horrible people? But you don't have that developed empathy to realize that there's a reason why they're horrible.
And you see that with her.
Yeah, Cordelia is literally this idea of just going like, whoa, she is a very deep character and she's a bitch, but then there's a reason why she's a bitch. Or, she's kind of like, look, I need to swim with the sharks in order to not be bullied, or in that in crowd. And there's a level of sympathy for her being a bully. And I don't know, I think that's a wonderful depth that you get throughout Buffy,
Definitely. But I want to know as well, has Sonia got her certificate laminated for a degree in Buffy as well?
No, so my degree is in English literature and journalism.
Before
I did my psychological therapy degree, my previous degree was English literature. But in year 3, I did a module called Vamps and Virgins that was about Buffy, and my essays and exams were on third wave and second wave feminism in the world of Buffy.
All right.
Wow.
Oh my
just
god.
hit Michaela's heartstrings right there.
Was the entire thing the sex scene from Once More with Feeling?
Well, I must say,
No.
there's a woman who, when I used to work as an English teacher, we used to like do things with Sunderland University. And
I was going to say,
one of
please
the-
phrase this rightly.
Yeah, I was waiting for him.
No.
Okay, then.
No, one of the linguistic teachers actually did a module on linguistics in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes, she did
so,
the minus Y suffix, how they put a Y at the end of their words. Like,
Yes,
so,
and
like, it's not
actually
evil, everything's all evilly. They created their own language, didn't they?
They created a lexicon and like obviously using the Scooby Gang, the
Yeah.
the
Ah.
Slayerettes and things like that, and that was really interesting. And a lot of my students went to that, and I went in my Buffy t-shirt.
Well,
Because I'm a geek.
very cool.
Geek.
Well, my favourite character was Dawn. No, I'm just bullshitting.
Right, I'm
Yeah.
leaving.
Right, bye.
Can we kick Paul from the chat?
No.
I'm going to spray
He's got all
milk
the
at the
power
screen.
and
No, don't. No, probably it's the same as Kelly. Like I said, with like watching it when I was younger, my favourites kind of flitted between like two, but watching it back later when I was older and doing like the whole Buffy and Angel experience, doing it all at once. That's because I thought it was being clever. Cordelia just blows you away, just with a little range as well. Like that's one of the things I do adore. I think Cordelia just stands. I know there's a lot of good performances, but she stands head and shoulders above anyone that's in it as well.
Yeah,
Charisma Carpenter, man. Wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Cool. But yes, I think that would be a good way to leave because we've been talking a shit ton a lot of time about Buffy. So,
I could
next...
talk
Yeah, I
another
can
2
hear
hours,
my
to be honest
child
with you.
crying.
Bless.
My baby's
Fuck you so
crying.
much, I'll neglect my young.
Yeah, it's just like you'd be like, I don't want fucking formula, you twat. Give me the tit.
But yes, next week...
Hashtag mood.
Next week, Sam won't be as quiet. We are going back to Star Wars. Sorry.
I would be very quiet if I was
Ah,
Star Trek.
Trek.
I can't even be here yet.
Space Nine, bitches.
Yeah, we're
Big
doing.
old mum for that.
Yeah,
We're talking about the real Star Wars. It's going fucking. Oh, it's gonna be great. Who's on there?
I'll just check. I know Lauren's back.
Lauren.
Grant's put his name forward, but he doesn't know anything about Star Wars, so I might have to change
It's gonna
that.
be great.
Do you want
Yeah.
Huxley to come on? Huxley, come on. You
You
can talk
might
about
need him.
thermal detonators.
I think Goodwill. I think Goodwill's coming dressed up as a Starfleet officer. So
He's not. He's fucking not. It's not happening. Sorry, Mr. Goodwill. You can come on, but you've got to wear a Star Wars t-shirt.
but
No
New
Star
Star
Trek.
outfit.
But yes.
I can't wait for next Sunday. That's going to be so much fun. We have a few things. Actually, my monster thing doesn't start this week. It's next week.
Is it next week? You're gonna have a
It's
busy week next
I
week.
just remember. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This week's the quiet one because
Right.
the week after is the busy one. That's where everything starts.
Yes. So
That's right.
there's going to be a few recorded episodes, not live. So we are doing a recorded episode for Free Comic Book Day. So we are having a few people on to talk about comics, about what's going to be out, what they like about comics. That's going to be like not an episode of the podcast. That's just going to be a
The
special.
importance of Free Comic Book Day for the comic book industry as well. Lauren's going to give us all the information on that because I had a conversation with her the other day and it was so informative. So that'll be a good episode.
Cool. And Graeme will be returning on Friday, I believe. What we'll be discussing now after Picard is finished.
Oh my god, yeah, Picard's finished. What happens?
Well-
What happens with the Trek now?
What we had the coolest thing. It was something that I programmed in Goodwill Spam, but basically we created a thing.
Please don't
called
tell us it was a
Dab-
penis.
No, that's it. No, it was the Dabo Wheel of Trek, where I programmed it, where it has every episode of Good Trek, i.e., not Discovery. And basically, what it does is it randomly selects one, but it cycles through all the episodes and then picks one of them, and then that's what we discuss. So,
Have you pinched my Game of Thrones Wheel of Fortune?
is that what you did?
Yes.
Goodwill is stealing Sammy's gimmicks.
My God, Goodwill.
We totally nicked that, but I can guarantee that ours is better.
I'm
No.
only
But-
joking. I'm only joking, but that is how we chose our episodes, was through the Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, amazing! No, but we've got this, and we picked the episode we're going to be talking about on Friday is Descent Parts 1 and 2, and it's the one where Data works out that he has emotions, which is quite fun considering he's a robot. But no, it's really fun. Like, it's a really good show. If you're interested in Trek, or if you're just interested in me making Goodwill's life as a host very difficult, then tune in for that.
I am tuning in for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
Bless him.
tuning
He
in
was
for that.
very
I'm
stressed
tuning in
last
just to- I'm just tuning in to make sure he doesn't steal any more of me sayings.
Yeah.
The problem is,
wanna
as soon
know.
as he shows an essence that he's developed a plan or written notes, I'm just like, let's see about this. You know?
So we are going to be renaming. So going forward, hopefully, we will be having Star Trek with Nerdy North on a Friday, the live podcast on a Sunday, and then Monster Monday with Sam and whoever.
Monster Monday, look at you! I love it, yes.
So that is going
to. It's going to be so fun.
Yeah, some random things that's thrown in from time to time.
Yeah.
What about you, Sonia? Have you got anything planned? Anything? I know you're streaming from time to time. Any interesting ones?
No.
No.
I am very uninterested. Yeah,
What games are you on with?
I've just finished. Well, I haven't fully finished, but I've just finished my first ever playthrough of Bloodborne, which I absolutely loved.
I couldn't get past the fucking village. I've never been so frustrated at a game in my entire life.
I didn't have a PlayStation 4, and Joe, like my brother, gave me his because he's moving country. So he was like, I need to downsize, have my PlayStation 4. And I was like, oh my God, Amazon Bloodborne right now, get in my life. So yeah, I've streamed that, which was really, really good. And then next, I have no idea. I really want to play the Dead Space remaster, but I'm waiting for it to go down in price a bit.
No, that's the problem with games.
We need another blast on Phantasmaphobia with all us together as well. That would be
If you ever want to play anything, just hit us up. I'm on the computer 24/7.
Cool.
So I have no life.
Cool. What about you, Michalea? Anything planned? Anything you want to promote? I know you've been looking at a few art galleries. I've been watching you traveling up and down the country.
Yeah, I don't play games. I don't know anything about Star Trek. I don't know anything about Star Wars. I don't know anything about comics, but I know a lot about art. And I have an art gallery online called pinkcollargallery.com. Actually doesn't have an exhibition on it at the minute, but it will be having an exhibition on mid-May. Give us a follow on Instagram, and I'm trying to get the gallery as a space in Sunderland, so that's kind of why I've been going up and down the country. And so yeah,
do us a favour as well, Michalea. Send us a message after this is finished, and I'm going to add your links to this episode.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah.
Cool.
So it's all about the underrepresentation of women and other minorities in the art world, and it's all about working class identity, and it's my little baby that I do. And it's just kind of like promoting artists in the Northeast, like this one here, right here.
Which is Chris Fleming,
aka
Latrine Lurker, who is one of my drag queen friends, who is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm gonna
person. So yeah. So that's all me.
Cool. So with us trying to be all professional and stuff, we're going to try and get everyone's descriptions. I know Graeme's Velvet Snatch links are already in there. You can follow Sonia on Twitch. Link will be in the description below.
On YouTube.
I'll get the YouTube. I'll get the YouTube one as well.
On YouTube. I'll find you on YouTube.
Kelly, anything to promote other than keep birthing out these children?
She's had two.
Join them on Monday for Childbirth Monday.
Well, was it? I've been playing a game.
Oh.
I've nearly clocked Hogwarts Legacy. I'm just looking for one failed page.
I've just started it, Kelly. I just got put into my house the other day.
It's fucking mint.
I'm better than fucking Harry Potter, I tell you that now.
It's fucking mint. I'm redoing it. It's Slytherin, and I'm being a cunt.
Right.
Like all the questions, like you do missions, and it's just like you find someone's gobstones for them, and they're like, "Oh, will you give us them back?" And I went, "No."
Oh, you badass!
Like,
oh dear,
Yes, Kelly.
Who is
this?
So
wow,
that was fun. But was it? I'm selling everything on Vintage.
Right.
So if you want to add my Vintage shop,
fucking send it over, Kelly. We're being professional, remember?
Oh God.
All I do at the minute is just basically watch Buffy, which I obviously will stop now, and breastfeed. So that's
Sounds like a good
all
life,
I do.
Kelly.
All I do at the minute is create milk for life.
Nice.
See the life giver. That's what you are now.
I smell of cottage cheese because it's just do you know what? I'm not selling breastfeeding whatsoever, but You know, I've got tits like Melinda Messenger now, so that's great. But
So
then
there's a callback for someone
fucking
for an age there. If anyone can remember Melinda Messenger, you're from a certain time.
Fort Boyard.
Absolutely amazing on Fort Boyard. Was just fucking
Fucking
warm
lush.
back on Friday
Speaking
night.
of
Get a
embarrassing
pizza.
posters.
Fort Boyard on the fucking telly. Dirty Den releasing the Tigers. Unreal television.
Wind.
Wow.
But yeah, I've got nothing to flog except.
I don't think we can follow that, Kelly. So that's
No,
fine.
I don't think we can.
What about you,
So I have
Graeme?
to say,
Anything?
I fucking love being on a podcast with Kelly. Kelly's like one of my favourite people in the entire world. And the fact
Oh,
that she can just
it's
break
reciprocated.
me, you know?
It's reciprocated.
So, Graeme, have you got any streaming other than Star Trek?
Just watch Kelly. Just follow Kelly. Just watch her in fucking Burger King getting her tits out to feed a young. You know, the usual.
Wasn't it Greg's?
It was Greg's cat.
Was it Greg's?
I upset the grannies in the galleries because I got my boobies out.
But no, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be streaming because things are getting busy. Because I said April no drag to recover from Drag Idol, and then obviously in May I've got like gigs coming up, so I'm like, oh shit, okay. So I might need to call back on some stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, but basically it should be Fridays are Star Trek days, and me streaming on Twitch and stuff, and everything else
Is a bonus. Yes. So thank you guys, and
Thanks for having us.
it's been a journey. So same bat time, same bat channel.
Keep
Good
tongue off
night,
me.
everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
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 Bye.